All right, we're in episode 6, and as you can see by the crazy-ass title card on YouTube or from the title on the podcast, I'm with the Radical One himself, Radical Reggie.
How's it going?
Go ahead, introduce yourself, tell the peeps a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Well, I am Radical Reggie. I am a YouTuber. You guys might know me from the Metal Jesus channel. And I actually started my own channel as well, where I talk about a lot of video games and my thoughts on things and reviews, top 10s, things like that. Stuff that might interest people.
Hell yeah.
Very happy how far the channel has come, and I'm happy to be on your podcast, bro.
Cool. Thanks for joining me in this bullshittery that we're about to partake in. It's going to be fun. So it was funny as like Reggie and I were sitting here for literally like 10, 15 minutes trying to get this daggone audio to work. And I mentioned I was playing this Dana game on the Sega Mega Drive, Japanese Sega Mega Drive.
Right.
But I didn't tell you how I was playing it. I'm playing it probably the craziest, most complicated way that you could think.
and that's how?
But it's legit. So I'm playing it on a Sega Nomad. However, the Sega Nomad has its screen modified with an LCD by my buddy frickin' Dirk Mathis, who
nice.
I've hung out with him at Game On Expo, which is Games 31's convention. And he also modified the battery pack to be rechargeable, like a frickin' DS or 3DS or anything. And I have an EverDrive MD in it with an SD card to have all the Genesis games.
Oh man, you're set up.
So I'm sitting here playing this game, just like chilling while we're trying to get this freaking audio to work. But the game is like, I was just playing it again, and it's like I can always get blown away because when we're talking, you know, the newest Hidden Gaming Gems book, like this fucking game needs to be like covered. And I'm not sure if Rewind Mike's gonna write about it or not, but if he's not, then shit.
Very cool, man.
Like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know if you've played it, but holy shit.
I have not, man, but talking about that screen mod you got, man, I've seen how it looks, and it looks fantastic. You know, it just, like, when the Nomad came out, the screen wasn't, like that great, you know,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. But when I saw, somebody said they use what they do when they mod that system, they use, like, a car navigator screen for it, and it looks fantastic, you know, after the mod is done, so
yeah,
I need to look into that.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, Dirk was awesome to do it for me. So I sent him my original Nomad. Like, I've had this thing for like 20 years. And
Right.
like, I just sent it over to him because he sent me the battery pack thing and it like wasn't working right. And I think he switched the polarity or something that those crazy hackers talk about. But and I know tech, I know how to hack stuff, but it's like I'm just not a solder master. Like, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so he fixed that for me, and I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna send you my Nomad. And he did the little screen mod too, and I haven't even taken the film off of the screen yet. Like, it just looks,
Don't do it.
It looks so cool. Like it looks fucking cool.
Just leave it on because that's like a screen protector, pretty much.
Yeah, right now it is. And the thing is, though, is that I'm literally got this ready and poised for my next complete book. Obviously, if you know what system I'm talking about, then you know what my next complete book's going to be, the Complete Genesis. So, so I'm getting prepped and ready so I can start playing every single game in the Genesis library, and now I'm going to be able to play it like portably anywhere.
I wanted to ask you, man, like, you know, you go through every game, which is great, but do you get burnt out a little bit? Like, whoa, man, it's a lot of games to play. Like, how long do you play the games when you go through them?
So I play them as long as they're interesting and as long as I can make a definitive opinion and gist of the game. Because if you notice in the Complete NES and Complete SNES, it's very simplistic writing on purpose. And I just want to write about it like, hey, this is what this game is. And then I'm not playing them to fruition because that's what I save for, like, the Hidden Gaming Gems book or my compendiums and stuff like that, is the stories.
Right.
And so they're not thorough reviews on purpose. It allows me to streamline when I'm playing everything, but like I'll get sucked into games and be playing them for a while sometimes. And the other thing is there's no time limit, so it's not like I have to get them all done in a week or something. Like, I can take a year if I want to. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, and then there's also, you know, y'all contributors that help out greatly, where it's killing me from the burnout. And with the Genesis book, which I might get some flack for, I'm creating I call it a BS section. I'm moving all the different Maddens, all the different MLBs, NBAs, NHLs, NASCARs, ESPNs, fishing games, all that weird stuff that like I'm generally not interested in and most collectors aren't interested in. And I'm putting it in a collectible section in the back where I'm not writing about them.
Awesome.
And of course, as you know, when I do the Kickstarter, contributors can write about whatever game they want. And like if somebody wants to write about NHL 94, which we know is going to happen, they can.
Okay.
It's just not going to be in there. And I'm not doing a write-up on all those games because with the complete SNES, writing about all the differences in every version of Madden and every version of FIFA was a nightmare.
Yeah, I bet it was, man.
That's where I got burnt out. And I was like, I don't really give a shit about these games. I'm doing it for, completion's sake. But at least now it's going to be like streamlined. They'll still be there, and they're still going to be able to check off the cart box manual, but I don't have to write about them all. And then now when I say sports games though, I'm not talking about gimmick games. So Mutant League Hockey is going to be written about. NBA Jam is going to be written about. Like the classics will be written about. I'm talking about your every freaking year games.
Right.
Yeah. And the Genesis has a lot.
Yeah, it does, man. When you brought up NBA Jam, I just thought about Boom Shakalaka and He's on Fire, and like, man, those are like so many memories of that, man.
Is it
Seriously.
the shoes?
Oh my god, dude.
We just did on VGBS. We just uploaded NBA Jam Memories episode. It was like pretty fucking fun. And every time Kyle and I did one of those quotes, he added like a reverb to it because he had his VGBS.
You know what's funny about that game was, so when the game came out, I think it was like '92. It's when Shaquille O'Neal was a rookie in the NBA, and we went to the arcade. My 7-Eleven. This is when 7-Elevens had arcades, and we went there. There was a Neo Geo machine, a Street Fighter machine, then there was NBA Jam, and me and my cousin were so pumped up because we went to pick the Orlando Magic, and Shaquille O'Neal was in it. You know what I mean? Because he strong guy. He busted the rim and everything in his rookie year.
Damn right he did.
But when we got the Super Nintendo version and the Sega Genesis versions, we noticed that Shaquille O'Neal wasn't in the game. We were like, what the heck happened? Like he didn't make it into the game, and that was like the main purpose of us buying the game. And we noticed that Jordan wasn't in there, and a few stars weren't in the game, so it kind of took away a little bit. But
yeah, it was one of those interesting trivia pieces. Is that like technically Jordan and Gary Payton weren't in the NBA Jam arcade games either. But there is one version of the game that Michael Jordan owns where he's in it.
Are you serious?
Serious. And I think Gary Payton's in the same boat too, where they each have their own version of NBA Jam at their house. Yeah.
That version, man. You need to leak it.
Hey Jordan, how about you get us some jams?
That's right, man.
I mean, that's like seriously one of my favorite games, and the Genesis port is probably my favorite port of the original NBA Jam, and then Tournament Edition is Super Nintendo, for sure.
Okay.
But like, yeah, dude, love that game. Amazing.
I like how they brought it back a couple years ago. It was still a lot of fun then. I think it was on Nintendo Wii, PS3, and 360. I haven't played that version yet, but I hear it was really good.
I saw it. I haven't played it either. Like, it's almost like we're doing ourselves a disservice for nostalgia.
Yeah, you know what? After this podcast, man, I'm probably going to go out and pick it up, maybe.
Oh, God.
Let you know how it is, man.
Yeah.
It lives up.
So, the other thing that I've been doing, well, there's two other things, but one of the main things I've been doing is I've been playing on, I have a Raspberry Pi.
All right.
And I did a Kickstarter a while ago where they do a Pi cart, and they created the whole thing for me. I found a cool-ass image that I like that does this attract mode thing where it's like really visual, but it actually works exactly how I want it. I was trying to add MSX games to it, which is like a pretty obscure Japanese console, like a computer by Microsoft, but it has a lot of Konami games and amazing. It's almost like an NES. Some of the games have better graphics, some don't. The definitive Metal Storm is on it. So it's really cool. But when I went to add the emulator, it ended up deleting all of my views, my displays on the Raspberry Pi today, just before we recorded. So I'm like, I'm taking a break for a while from that.
Dude, the Raspberry Pi, man, I always wanted to try that, man. There's an arcade game that I want to play so badly, but I can never get it working on my computer.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how, maybe. But my buddy said he probably could get it working on a Raspberry Pi. That game is called Chaos Heat. So if anybody's ever played that game, it is one of the most underrated arcade games, hidden gems, unknown arcade game out there. Damn. It's a lot of fun. I mean, from what I've seen of it, it looks fun. But I just need to find a way to play it, man, because oh my god, that game looks so good.
Freaking Chaos Heat, huh?
Yeah, the sequel came out on PS1, which I'm gonna do hidden gems about in one of your books.
So the only place I can find it is on a website called Lunatic Obscurity, and it's not even online. It's called. It looks like you're running around. Like it looks like Chaos Break.
Right. It's a more action-paced Chaos Break. It's multiplayer. You go in rooms. You take care of enemies. You're in the laboratory. You can pick through 3 characters.
Yeah.
And it's just really. It's like a SWAT team, like breaking in on like kind of like breaking in on enemies and everything. It's really cool, and it makes me sad because I started to see why a lot of like why MAME exists. You know, if MAME didn't exist, bro, a lot of these games would have been lost in time. Nobody would know about them. You couldn't play them. I mean, these guys, when they made arcade games, it seemed like they didn't have any kind of way. Like they didn't think of any way that they were gonna like save them or like keep them in a vault to protect them over time. They were like in the moment. They're like, oh, put this game out, make us some money. When it stops making us money, who cares?
That was literally that whole era of gaming. There's really no they didn't do any kind of preservation for it, and it's unfortunate because like there's a lot of original documents, original versions of games, like artwork that's lost. And like this game right here isn't emulated perfectly, is what it says on the website, that Lunatic Obscurity website. But you're right though, with like emulation is very important. And I mentioned the EverDrive for the my Genesis. The other thing that they allow you to do is play Japanese games with patches and stuff, so you can play them on original hardware in English. You know what I mean? Like it's just you get a new experience too. And the other aspect is to say you're an arcade collector. Well, you gotta have a damn warehouse if you want to play everything, like multiple warehouses. So it's like having MAME and having a Raspberry Pi is amazing, and then it allows you to like hone in on what you want to collect.
Do you think I never thought about this. Are there arcade collectors out there?
There arcade collectors? There's a fuck ton, man.
Dude, I just never hear about them, man. I just really thought about that just now. Like,
oh my god, arcade
collectors?
Oh yeah, there's tons. And the funny thing is episode 5 last week, I had Philip Seidner on here, and he runs Twincade. It's a barcade, and literally he is an arcade collector, and his wife's like, we gotta do something with all these arcades. He created a barcade, and now people can enjoy his games.
Wow, dude, that's pretty crazy. But the warehouse thing,
Oh my god, like there's so many, and that's why arcade collecting is interesting, because I have a few arcade games, and I've actually salvaged arcade games in the past, where I went with a couple other collectors that I knew, and we went to an old abandoned warehouse that was leaking, and it was like a graveyard of destroyed arcade and pinball machines. And we found a few preserved ones, and we also saved all the marquee art and everything. But like basically like a lot of these guys just collect and have them all on a really cool ass 80s display. I've seen some amazing basements. I've seen like, dude, it's a different level though. Like I don't know, man. I'm never gonna be a comprehensive completionist collector. Just number one, because of the relative obscurity of things, and the interest, because everything's not going to be cheap. But with arcades, shit can get cheap, because say you have a warehouse, Reggie, and all of a sudden you got to offload all your shit. Well, you can't sit on it, so you got to offload your arcade games for cheap. Like there's never going to be a oh, this game is $2,000, unless it's a really, really rare game.
Right.
But like, yeah, dude, like Donkey Kong's always in demand, right? But if you gotta get rid of your freaking warehouse and there's Donkey Kong in there, I'm getting it for pretty cheap.
Wow.
Yeah. I got a Donkey Kong Jr. cocktail, one of the sit-down ones.
Oh,
yeah? It was like $100.
Nice, dude.
Shit's mint.
Nice.
And I move around every 2 to 3 years, as you know. And mine's sitting at my dad's house. He bitches about it sitting in his house where he doesn't even see it. So, but he's still complaining. But yeah, that one's cool. And what's cool about the Donkey Kong Jr. board is that one can be modified to do the double DK mod, where you can have Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. on it.
That's tight, man.
Yeah, and it's all standard arcade Nintendo buttons and Nintendo joystick, and it's really responsive.
See, I had an arcade recently, Aliens arcade cabinet. It was a modified one to where it would look more like the Aliens movie, because the original arcade cab for Aliens was just this bland black arcade thing. It didn't look really cool at all. So this guy, he modified it where it looked like the spaceship from the movie, and it was great. It was great, dude. I mean, playing Aliens arcade game, which is pretty much obscure. Nobody knows about it. It's a running gun shooter. Awesome game.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Is it like it's like a successor almost to Alien vs. Predator?
Pretty much, man. I mean, it's like, well, it came out before.
Yeah.
So it's like a. Yeah, you're right. It's just, yeah, exactly.
And a perfect example, Reggie, to your earlier comment, I wouldn't know about it if I didn't play it on MAME.
Really?
Yep, 100%.
See?
I call it MAME. Other people call it Mammy. I call it MAME.
I saw Aliens, the arcade game, when I was a kid once. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old when I saw it.
Really? You saw it?
I saw it at arcade, and I didn't at the time. I had already run out of money, because I think I was playing at the time Double Dragon 2 a lot.
Yeah,
that was my favorite arcade game, and I glanced at it and I walked away. And then years later, I see it again, and this game is amazing, dude. I mean, seriously, it's sad that this is like one of the games that's lost in time. Like, it hasn't been ported to anything. It's just a really good running gun shooter.
And really, that's the definitive definition of a hidden gem.
Yeah, exactly,
it's
man.
Underappreciated. Nobody really knows about it.
And you know what's funny? I found another one for sale.
2 of them?
Yeah, this lady has the original. She's in this place called the BNI, which is like a swap meet, an indoor swap meet here in Tacoma. And I went into her store, and she had the arcade game in there, and she's selling it for $600. And I looked at it. It's not worth $600 the way the condition is.
No.
But if you could talk, you could probably talk. She could probably sell it for $200, maybe $100, $150, $200 at most. But it's the original arcade cab. I didn't see it turned on. I think it works though, because it looked like it worked at least. I don't know. But I saw another one. And I thought that was amazing. Like, what luck you to see like a couple of those games within like a 2-year period. I thought that was crazy.
It's freaking crazy. And the thing is that you mentioned something too, is that it's in the original one, and then the one you have, or do you still have it or had it?
No, I sold it. It was mine was custom.
Yeah, and then yours was custom. So what's cool, and I always customize my stuff, but there's arcade collectors that want everything as mint-looking, original as possible. Like and that's the other thing. Flavor. So that's the level of arcade collecting that's really crazy, is the ones that can actually use like Bondo and crazy like wood fixing and painting, and they restore the art, and I'm talking about restore like the paint and everything, not just put a sticker on it. And like, people are talented out there, and arcade is like a different level. And it's Have you seen Eric Bishop's video of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade? That he restored? That was amazing. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about, man. He went through everything to restore that thing. My buddy Gerard, he does Mr. Wizard Reproductions. He's restoring and converting a Nintendo Red Tent arcade, and I have a pure stock mint Nintendo Red Tent. That's my holy grail in my collection. And he's converting to LCD screens, and people are talking shit to him. But the thing is, those screens are like $300 a piece now, because they're so specialized. They're not like, they're a special type of CRT. And So like he's like, do I spend $600 or do I buy some LCDs that are gonna look better? I can make the lag negligible, and it doesn't cost me $600 fucking dollars. And so he's going that route to find a really cool mod way to do it, and I think it's gonna turn out awesome. And he just can't afford to get it original. Like,
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. It's hard.
And my thing is, I'm glad he's doing it because if my screens go out, I can't afford to fucking replace those.
You know, I wanted to ask you, man, do you think a lot of arcade games were just destroyed back when people thought they were worthless? You know what I mean? Like,
well, destroyed or converted. So, and converting them destroys them too.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because,
you know,
like, say, like, you have Aliens on the frickin' floor, and it's not making you any money. It's in a standard black cab. All right, well, let me just throw the next new game in there that's the same compatible board, or the same compatible connectors, like JAMA. They flip it out, change out the marquee, especially if it only has a black art. Done. You got a new freaking arcade game in there.
Wow.
Other ones, they would paint over or ruin the freaking side art to put new side art on it. I mean, shit. You know, the history of the original Donkey Kong was converted from old radar scopes.
You serious?
Yeah, Nintendo had this arcade game called Radar Scope, and it was in a red cabinet, and it wasn't selling well. So when they created Donkey Kong, all the red cab Donkey Kongs are conversions from the old Radar Scope.
Ah.
Yeah, and then when they made more, they made them with that classic blue cab.
That's pretty crazy. Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts, man. And that's the thing too is and why I would be really excited if we hit the freaking 15K stretch goal and we start creating an arcade chapter. And the thing is though, so say we don't hit the computer stretch goals. That shit's way too high up there to hit that stretch goal. We could still create a chapter for home PCs and computers. I'm just not going to write 5 or 6 new reviews on that. I already have enough probably for a chapter. But like if we hit the stretch goal, I'm going to write about another 5 or 6. Like I already have a few more games I'm writing about. But like I'll just go, all right, I'm going to pick out another 5 or 6, freaking a full chapter's worth, and I will write more. That's the stretch goal.
Okay.
But so if there's enough contributors that do arcade games, like if you do Aliens or you do freaking another game, Chaos Heat or something, I'll still create the chapter. It just won't be as large as it would be.
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing is on the Kickstarter, that's just U.S. and North American backers. So I have probably 75% of my supporters are international.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so the fact that I limited it was only due to one thing, and that's because Kickstarter takes 10% from my campaigns. And if you take 10% from the $65 it costs to ship a book, I'm paying out of pocket to ship a book.
But yeah, and I get you on that, man.
And if you're talking 100 freaking backers, say for example, and they're taking $10 from each shipping, it costs me $1,000 out of pocket.
Right.
It gets crazy when you start dealing with lots of backers, man.
I bet, man. So was Kickstarter the best way to kind of promote this? What about Indiegogo or anything else?
So to me, it seems like Indiegogo's like a step under Kickstarter. Not that it is, it just seems like it is. And in all reality, the only reason why I use Kickstarter is for visibility.
Gotcha. Okay, Kickstarter's kind of made a name for itself, so.
Yeah, and it's like somebody said it perfectly. It's like Kickstarter's kind of like eBay now, the new eBay for new projects.
Right.
Like everybody uses it. It's cool. I got no problem using it. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, it really went mainstream, especially when Shenmue 3 got announced.
Yep.
So
it was with Shenmue and Mighty Number 9 and Bloodstained and
Mighty Number 9.
Hell yeah, dude, that was freaking horrible train wreck.
Man,
now I've heard that I heard that Bloodstained, not the retro one that's fucking amazing, but the Bloodstained game itself, I heard there's a lot of issues with it. Some of the really high tier got a beta, and I saw posts they're not happy with it. It doesn't run well, nothing. Maybe the console ones will be fixed, but the beta runs pretty bad. So hopefully they're just going to use all this feedback to fix it up.
They're pretty smart though. I think they'll make sure they fix it before they release it. So
You would think.
they better not. Hopefully they would learn from what happened with Mighty Number 9, the way that came out, man.
Jesus.
Seriously, I like the game. Don't get me wrong, but I think I was able to like it more because I wasn't a backer, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I was a backer on Mighty Number 9. And I see the complaints. I don't give a shit about the complaints. The game itself, though, to me, is just a little bit of a miss. Like, there's a little bit of flow that doesn't work well.
Right.
That's it.
What was I gonna say? I think I got my game before a lot of backers got theirs, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. They're still going. They're still trying to finish things up with that. I think they finally announced the cancellation of 3DS and the Vita versions,
yeah,
which is crazy. But I don't know, man. Kickstarter seems pretty cool, so but hopefully Bloodstain will hopefully they'll fix the issues. I'm sure they will.
I mean, it's a different company, and they've already shown with the retro one that they could do killer with it, and hopefully they do a physical version of that retro one. So
that's what I was gonna say next, man.
Oh my god,
if it gets a physical, oh man, that'd be great. Because people are telling me, oh my god, Reggie, this is the true sequel to Castlevania 3.
It is.
And I played it. I was like, oh my god, dude, you're right, dude. This is crazy.
And you could play through it 4 times differently.
See, I like that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Indie Crates did a great job making this game. I heard Indie Crates, I believe, was the ones that developed this game.
Yeah, that's and the guy who's always hanging out at conventions, Matt Papa. He's freaking awesome, dude. Like, he actually works with localization team on that shit.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, he lives out in Japan, but he comes out here for conventions. Like, I usually see him at Too Many Games, but I couldn't go this year. But I live in Tejas now. But
dude, Too Many Games. So yeah, I heard about it before, but then I started hearing about it more because I was in Canada recently for the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo.
Yeah. And
I kept getting messages, hey, Reggie, are you here at Too Many Games? I'm like, Too Many Games? What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm here at Too Many Games. And he said, I just saw your game here, like the Reggie's Radical Adventures.
Yep.
I said, wow, so this convention is going on the same week as the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo.
Dude, that's the thing that blows my mind is that there's so many conventions now that they're overlapping.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to is Classic Game Fest in Texas, and there's 3 in Texas that weekend. Like Retropalooza, Houston, Classic Game Fest, which is the biggest one in Texas, the biggest retro gaming one, and then Let's Play, which is ran by my buddy Christian Dietering. So, like Ferris Bueller on Nintendo Age, like really cool dude. And they're all 3 in the same weekend. And I didn't know. I already committed to Classic Game Fest. And then Chris was like, you coming to Let's Play? And I'm like, yeah, when is it? And he said the date. I'm like, shit, I'm already committed. Like, like that's crazy. And, like, I just can't believe that they're doing so many conventions nowadays.
Yeah, man, these conventions are pretty big because, the retro video game is a niche market. So,
yeah.
People are getting back into it, especially with the way modern games are going. Of course, we know that physical games are possibly going to go away. I mean, they're trying to get rid of them. I mean, they're trying to phase them out slowly.
Yeah.
But a lot of us, this DLC type stuff that's like microtransactions is kind of killing the video game market. At least in my opinion. A lot of people are going back to retro where games were just simple. You got the whole game. You knew you had something that you could treasure.
Yep. Well, you know what my thoughts are on that, right?
No, tell me your thoughts, man.
Yeah. So my thoughts are, I think mainstream 100% is trying its hardest to move toward digital to cut costs. The problem is that we are a pretty vocal minority, and the niche collectors, we still want our physical. And Nintendo brought back cards, and now it's getting pretty crazy with physical. But I think that it will forever stay a physical market until our generation peters out and the next generation isn't the same. If they happen to be the same with their nostalgia, it'll continue on. And the other thing that's really cool is within the last couple years, we've been able to, at a small amount, create professionally done products. So, for example, I mean, I released a freaking NES game that looks like a freaking like an NES game, like it's part of the NES library, and I am, a hobbyist. So if a hobbyist can release stuff that's professional, physical is going to stay alive. It just won't be mainstream, and it won't be in the millions. It'll be crazier for collectors where there's like, oh, there's only 100 copies of this game.
Right.
And there's thousands of collectors. Like,
well, yeah, dude. Like, but it's important to treat the next generation, like, to kind of like teach them how valuable having a physical is. You know what I mean? So as long as the next generation is properly, like, shown why it's good to have a physical game, I think it'll live on. One reason, one big reason why I want physical, because it's just like, if a game is digital only, it feels like it doesn't have any essence, like it doesn't really exist. If that makes any sense, like, you know what I mean? Like, they can take it away at any time.
I call it the Scott Pilgrim controversy, because it won't exist.
It won't exist. Thank you, man. Scott Pilgrim was definitely an awesome game that got taken away from us, and it's so sad that it did, man, because that was a fantastic game.
Now I do have trust in the OCD-ness of hackers in the future, and when we can properly emulate those newer systems on a computer, we will be able to play it. They will be able to hack it to where we can play digital games like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on the Xbox 360.
Right.
But right now, we can't.
We can't.
It's gone.
What was funny? I had the game, so me and my old friend shared an account, and he had Scott Pilgrim on his account, and on my account, I had the DLC for it. So we just kind of combined everything. We would, like, buy games, and we shared accounts so we could play these games. Like, and I lost his account, so now I can't play the game, but I have the DLC for it still.
Damn.
So it's like, dude, man. And the creator of the series is trying to bring the series back. He's running through licensing issues through the music. He's trying, but he's been trying for the last 2 years, and it's a headache. And,
and the thing is if they would have put that on a disc, we could still play it.
Exactly.
Disc costs
no
nothing.
problem. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But for those of you who would like to play a game that's similar to Scott Pilgrim, there's a game called 99 Vidas out there. It's a beat 'em up just like it. It's 4-player. It's pretty awesome. And I played it a couple of times on my channel. But yeah.
It's called 99 Betas?
Vitas or Vedas. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Vitas.
Yeah, it might be Vitas.
Okay.
And what it stands for is, it means, in translation, 99 lives.
Yeah.
So it's arcade beat 'em up, a lot of fun.
Sweet. Is it kind of like Castle Crashers?
It's more like Scott Pilgrim.
More like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
which is a tribute to River City Ransom.
Exactly. Yeah, it plays like, you could see all the tropes in the game. Like, it has like a reference to Streets of Rage in the game.
Really?
Scott Pilgrim, River City Ransom, any fighting game you can remember is referenced in this game, which is hilarious. And
that's fun.
Yeah, seriously, a cool game. I mean, a physical copy was sold for, I think, for $30 from a Strictly Limited.
Which system?
And it's for for physicals on PS4 only, a PS4 and a PlayStation Vita only.
So know that those systems are going to be a nightmare to collect for in the future, right?
Oh yeah, I know. I mean,
like Xbox One is going to be easy, but because of the openness of the distribution and limited run games and shit like that, like PS4 and PS Vita are going to be a nightmare. It's going to be fun.
I'm glad I'm not a completionist, man. I just get what I want.
Yeah,
good to go.
You and me are in the same boat, brother. Like, I literally only buy the shit that I really think I'm going to dig. Like,
right.
And some of the shit I post online, you see it's crazy looking anyways. Like, fucking, what was it this last week? Inferno on the MSX2. That's a homebrew cartridge released by a guy out overseas in Japan. A guy who speaks English over in Japan, and it's like a beat 'em up, like freaking Rastan or something, like a action adventure. rip off enemies' arms and use it as freaking like weapons, and it's like a Nintendo style game though.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
So I wanted to ask you. So a few months ago, I've been on Jason's channel, and we did the Hidden Gems videos.
Yeah.
And we did a PS2 one because we haven't done that one. And I picked some games out, and Jason saw the games. He's like, "Oh my god, these games are so cool, man!" So we did the video, and oh my god, I had never seen this happen before. At least maybe I haven't noticed it before, but people bought those games up immediately, but the people that didn't buy the games up within like the first day of the video, the sellers raised the prices up for the games, and some people
Damn
did.
you, radical.
I know, right? So most of them did the bid thing, and people kept bidding for the game because they really want it. But me and Jason got hit hard with us. We're raising the price in video games, and I was like,
hell yeah, you are.
I was like, no way, man. I mean, we're bringing attention to it. I mean,
no. Here's the thing, okay? So, did you at that time raise the price of the game? Sure, because your channel's popular. The fucking games are amazing, and people didn't know about it. Now you have thousands of eyes. I don't know how many hits does he get on a video like that. 10,000, 20,000.
Yeah, like 100,000 and stuff.
So think about all those eyes getting on a game that nobody knew about, and all of a sudden, when it's trickling out there, 1 or 2 a month, and nobody knew about it, and all of a sudden, thousands of people want it, it gets sold, and then the price raises. That's a very temporary thing. It's gonna even right back out. But if you want it right after seeing that video, you're like, God damn it, Reggie. Damn it, Reggie. Why'd you have to talk about freaking chaos, bro?
It's funny though, because when we talk about these games, I'm like, why don't you guys blame the sellers, man? Just put your foot down and don't buy it, because as soon as the sales stop, these guys will drop the prices down. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
It'll go right back.
I just wish people understood that we have a niche thing with when we talk about retro games. Yeah. Not a lot of people are selling them like they were before when they were in mainstream stores. So there could be like maybe 10 online or maybe 20 online.
And the games that are truly rare though, like those ones you might have got lucky getting that shit cheap, and just the seller didn't know. Well, now the seller knows it's cool. They're gonna bump the price up a little bit. That's just reseller 101 though. They're gonna do that shit. I mean, it is what it is. It's like, that's why that there's hidden gaming gems out there. You gotta do some fucking research, people. Like for
start
real.
Looking.
Like start looking, start playing everything. I mean, with my collector books, I play every fucking game. I found thousands of hidden gaming gems out there just for NES and Super Nintendo. When you jump into Famicom and Super Famicom, like it gets crazy, and there's stuff out there that I never even knew about, and I'm playing. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing, and that's why I do these books, man. It's just surely like I'm loving getting so intimate with all these systems.
Seriously, man, I just recently found out about 2 other games. Actually, one I knew about, but I never played it. But one of my friends sent me Psyops for PS2.
That's a classic.
Dude, I never played it. I thought I was ETSing out of the military when this game came out. Like I was going through all that stuff.
And it looks like a freaking typical garbage game that came out at the time, but it's not.
No. I thought it actually looked cool because it was showing the commercial for it on TV and on YouTube or on the internet on GameSpot. They would show the commercial for it. Yeah. It looked hella cool. Like you could use these psychic powers and you got a gun and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I never played it, and now it was sent to me, and I was playing it. Matter of fact, the PlayStation is still on with the game paused. And, and it was a lot of fun, man. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't played this. So I'm going to beat this game maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And they sent me another one called Cold Winter, which I haven't played yet.
Cold Winter?
But yeah, it looks like it used to be online by Sierra.
Yeah.
Published by Sierra and developed by Swordfish Studios. So I don't know if you guys have heard of them.
And the thing that's really cool, too, is that, like, as you know, like my generation that I hover to is 8 and 16-bit. You're all about that 64 or 32-bit all the way up to like PS2 and stuff like that, which is
man. 5th and 6th generations are my favorites.
And the thing is, I love that stuff. Not as much the 5th as much as you would think, like more the 6th, but like there's so many games that were released during that time frame that there's so much out there that's untapped. Like, people could bitch about you raising the price on a game or two, but it's like, dude, there's still thousands out there.
Yeah, definitely. They just got to know how to look, and it really depends on how much money you want to spend on the game, what it's worth to you. You know what I mean?
True.
If you got the money to spend, you're not going to really care. You're just going to buy the game and be happy you have it. Everybody's so fixated on getting games for extremely cheap. You know what I mean, these days. And there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to think, like, not everything, you're not going to find everything cheap. People want to make profit off of what they have because they could be trying to feed their family or doing whatever they do. You know what I mean? So
do whatever they do.
They're not going to want to give you things for everything for pennies. You know what I mean? So that's just
Well,
the way it is.
and I like doing trades and stuff too, but I mean, I've honed my collection down now because, as I mentioned, I move every so often. So like everything I have is like shit that I like, and I'll pay
Hmm.
for the going rate for a game if I want it, like if it's a cool
Yeah.
thing. And but the thing is, I need nothing. I don't need anything. So I'll find something really cool and I'll pick it up, and it'll be cheap for me, like $20 or so. Um,
Yep.
I just got 4 MSX games coming for like $30 a piece.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, and I'm
Nice.
talking about Ease games and Dragon Slayer games, which are awesome action RPGs, but like it's gonna be a pure version of them, and there's not much text in those, so I love it.
You know, and that's another thing too. I mean, emulation is a good option for people too. They think it's
Exactly.
bad.
No.
You don't have to have a physical copy of these older games. You know, if they cost too much for you, man, there's still a way to play these games. I always try to tell people that.
Even the
I used to
PlayStation
emulate.
2, even the PlayStation 2 has an amazing emulator on modern PCs.
It does, man. It puts games in high quality too.
Yeah.
I used to emulate a lot before, I got a lot of my games. You know what I mean? Like, mainly with the Game Boy Advance. I used to emulate with that because I didn't have a big Game Boy Advance collection.
Yeah.
But I was playing the games like that, and then eventually I went out and bought them when I could, if I found them for a good price. So emulation is a great option, especially if you want to save room, but still have the games to play.
Well, and as I mentioned, the EverDrives, like, so then you can play every Game Boy Advance game, and you can use it also as a way to find hidden gaming gems that you might want to
Yes,
play.
exactly. Very
And then
well
you pick
said,
up the
bro.
cool shit that you want. Like,
Yep.
and to me, it's like I like the total package now. I don't buy card only or CD only games anymore at all. Period. Even if I find them, I don't get them, unless I know I can get the box or something pretty cheap.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
because like seriously, I like the artwork about it. I like the packaging. It's all the history of it. I also stopped removing price stickers from the back of cartridges and stuff. On the front, I want the front unobscured, but the backs, I'll leave the history on it. Like if it has a Toys R Us sticker or something like that, that's pretty cool. So like,
Hmm.
it's a different aspect because if we're removing that, that's a piece of history too. Old video game rental store that used to exist or something in
Really,
my area.
weird. I couldn't stand that stuff, man. I would try to peel it off
Dude,
immediately.
that was me for years. But as I'm getting older, it's like on the back, like I hate GameStop stickers. That was always a freaking thing. But like on the back of it, as long as it's not obscuring something important,
Hmm.
like I like back of an NES cartridge, for example, just gray. If it has a sticker of an old rental store on the back or something, that's kind of cool. That knowing that store existed, because some of that there's no real documentation on the stores. It's a weird aspect, man, and I know I'm in the minority for sure with the back. The front, though, yeah, it has to be unobstructed. I want stuff to look nice, of course.
you know, it's
Yeah,
it's funny now. Toys R Us is out of business.
yeah,
I had one of their exclusive Game Boy Advance systems in box. It came in
nice.
this weird box. I forgot everything that came with it, but it was exclusive. Now I'm looking at that thing. That thing's gonna be sought after now. But I sold it a couple years ago to my local game store. So I'm like, oh man,
I was like,
that would have been
as
cool
soon
to
as you
have.
talk about it on Metal Jesus channel, should have.
I know, right, dude?
Dude,
I'm very. Here's the funny thing
it's
though.
real
So
though.
I'm very cautious now when I go on Jason's channel
Yeah,
because when I talk about games, because what I do is I know what games I'm going to talk about first, and I'll let all my friends know, hey, these are the games I'm going to talk about, and so they know, because some of my friends get mad at me because they don't want to pay the prices when games go up if they missed them. So I let them know. They decide what they're going to get. And one time, here's a funny story. So there's this game for the DS called Windy X Wingdom.
yeah.
It came out exclusively online only for the DS, and it's a 2D fighting game, like meant to be only strictly 2D sprites and everything, hand drawn. And I found out about it, so I went on Amazon. The game was selling for $10. All right, so I said, you know what? I bought 10 of them. I gave them out to friends and everything. Hey, I'm going to talk about this game, so you won't be complaining. Because I knew they would like the game, so I made sure I gave them out to everybody.
Yeah.
I gave Riggs one, and just pretty much everybody. I went on Jason's channel. Well, no, I actually talked about it on my channel, and man, that game sold out, man. I mean, everybody bought the game up. But not only were they buying them up, these people were keeping them. You weren't even seeing them on sale anymore.
No,
so, yeah, people were actually keeping them, which was great.
And that's the other thing is people like that do not do YouTube channels always wonder why people get sent games or like publishers and new game distributors send y'all games. It's because when you talk about shit, people buy it. That's marketing 101.
Yep.
Like, why the hell would they not send you a game, their newest thing? If it's cool, you're gonna talk about it, and then people are gonna want it.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot especially when I bring up stuff, man. Like people like want that game immediately. Like in my videos, sometimes I do like dialogue talking where I just like have a game going on in the background, like multiple games.
Yeah.
And even when I'm talking, people like in the comments, what game was that, Reggie? I want it. What game was, you know what I mean? They want it. They want to buy it. I'm like, wow, dude. So now I started listening to games I actually put in the backgrounds of my videos.
Well,
but
it's because you got a good knack of picking out some cool shit too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got a rep. You got a reputation. Reputation.
I know, right? I gotta uphold it, man. You know, it's funny. Me and Jason did a horror games video, survival horror games video. Yeah. In that video, I decided to put some games in there that I know people like kind of like didn't really like because of certain issues, but I stuck by my guns with them, and people actually ended up liking a game on the PS3.
What was the game called?
It was called Amy.
Amy. Okay, yeah, because your mic broke up for a second there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Amy is a survival horror game where a woman is trying to protect a child that has special needs from government agents that are trying to like kidnap her and do experiments on her. Okay. So it's like a mother-daughter. It's like a mother trying to protect her daughter type deal. And that game got panned. It got panned so bad that the developer almost lost their company just because of that game. But I found out some cool things about the game that I like. That I say, hey, this game is a hidden gem. You should try it out. And people gave me heck for it, but a lot more people say, hey, Reggie, you're right about this game. I actually like it. So that made me feel good. So I risk it with some games sometimes too, you know. But you know, if I feel good about the game, if I could find a couple of good issues about the game, or at least see what the developer was trying to do with the game, I could still end up liking the game, even though the game might not be that good. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the glass half full mentality, and I'm the same way. I'm the same way where I'll look past some major faults if something connects with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so some people like they can't get past a certain thing, and it's like, oh, I still like it. I mean, it's Double Dragon 4, for example. I love Double Dragon 4.
Me too.
And people hate it, and I'm like, why do you hate it? It's a complete tribute to Double Dragon 2, which is like one of my favorite games on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's literally just a spiritual successor to that game.
Right.
Like, it's really cool, and people just dog it that it's not like progressing the series, and I'm like, well, that's what Double Dragon Neon did.
Yep.
Like, this is just an 8-bit tribute, like style.
By the way, that game needs a physical.
That game got a limited run in an NES style box for the PS4.
The Double Dragon 4 did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was talking about the Double Dragon Neon, though. That needs a physical release.
Neon,
Yeah,
that 4 did, and I didn't get a copy of the NES box one. I'm disappointed. I was driving. I was driving to a convention, and I didn't get it.
Really, man? It's funny with those box versions, man. I kind of stopped looking for that stuff because I'm running out of room with my special edition boxes and everything. They're like, ugh. They're like kind of like all over the place in my game room, so I started like getting just the regular editions.
Yeah, well, that one was like an NES style, which is why.
So it was nostalgic in that way. I got you.
Hell yeah, it was like that. But that one, and I think they did a River City Ransom Underground, both in NES boxes, the same release week, and I missed them because I was driving to a convention.
You know what? Going back to Double Dragon 4, man, I totally agree with you about that game. It's actually better than Double Dragon 2 in a way. You know, I would say the storyline, because I follow the story of the games, was a bit cheesy compared to Double Dragon 2. Like, I mean, the final bosses didn't really, I don't know, they felt like they didn't really have a reason to mess with the Double Dragons. But anyways.
I mean, they had this car from Road Blasters at the beginning, which was badass.
That was cool. I like that. That was cool. But it really is cool how they did Double Dragon 4. And a lot of people think Super Double Dragon is a Double Dragon 4 when it was not. You know, it was just a kind of like a remake of the first couple of games, I guess, or whatever it was. But I'm happy that
the
we
reason
got
why
this game.
people say it's Double Dragon 4, Super Double Dragon, is because Double Dragon 5 came out after it.
Oh man, I know. And Double Dragon 5 is the game we don't talk about, man, because I still haven't played it to this day. I don't think I ever will.
It's just a fighting game. It's like it's not as bad as Shaq Fu. So
it's based off the cartoon though, which was weird.
Yep. It's based off that weird ass cartoon. And,
I mean,
yeah.
That intro song was stuck in my head for years, man. It was horrible. I was like, trying to get it out of my. Yeah, dude. Because I used to watch the Saturday morning cartoons, and that used to come on like, I used to turn the channel when that came on. Like, dude, can't watch this, man. But anyways, about Double Dragon, I'm happy it got a release like that. I hope they make another Double Dragon game like that, or maybe upgrade graphics. My favorite Double Dragon game of all time is actually Double Dragon 2, the arcade game.
Arcade game, nice.
Yeah, not a lot of people say that, and not a lot of people have played that game.
Yeah,
Double Dragon 2
it's crazy.
Was pretty brutal, especially seeing it as I was like 8 years old when I saw that game.
Yeah.
In the first game, you know, the guys come up, punch the girl, kidnap her at the end of the game. I mean, kidnap her in the beginning game, and then at the end you rescue her. Mm-hmm. Double Dragon 2, man, they pull out a machine gun and gun her down in the streets.
They kill her.
They kill her. And, you know, me as a kid seeing it, I was like, whoa, what the heck? So I was like, it was shocking to me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking at the end of the game that you're going to rescue her or somehow save her. But no, man, the only thing you get at the end of Double Dragon 2 is a Polaroid of revenge, and a Polaroid picture of the past of you and of the girl hanging out, and that's it. And that was my first, reality check of how things really go. You know, when people die, that's it. So, you know. Man, that was crazy.
You know that there's 2 home ports of the arcade game that are pretty solid. There's a PC Engine CD released in Japan of
I saw that.
Double Dragon 2, and then there's a Mega Drive Japanese version. Because
I have that one.
On the Genesis, there was only 1 and 3 in the arcade released in the U.S. 2 is only in Japan. So I mean, they're solid though. Like they're both good. They're not as good as the arcade, but they're solid ports.
I have the port of the Mega Drive one on Genesis, and I have I want to get the PC Engine one because that one they had animated cutscenes to it.
Yes,
they're really cool.
They're really cool, and the artwork on that CD case is really cool.
Man, dude, all this Double Dragon talk is making me want to play it again.
You're gonna be playing like 20 games after we get done chatting today. It's just how it is. Just how it is, man.
Seriously.
One thing is you were talking about the Metal Jesus channel, and it was an ironic thing when Riggs took on Black Box Challenge onto the Homebrew episode. And the irony is I only made a very limited amount of those games, the NES game. And it's it's an RPG where you collect Nintendo games in the game, and then you play mini games based on the games within the game. Like it's crazy shit. And it's an RPG, and all the mini games are based on their genre. And the irony is that I want to say like 2 days before that episode went live, I sold out.
Damn.
And then, serious? And then the Metal Jesus hits, and there's 100,000 people that want it. And I'm getting like bombarded with, you making more? You making more? I'm like, well, here is the link to the, like, because what happened was after I made my version, the developer took my name off the game because it's Jeffrey Widnagan's Black Box Challenge. He took my name off the game, did a card only with a white label. And I don't know if he did it because he was just fed up with, having to do something on a deadline or just wanted to move the association away from my name for some reason. I don't know. But basically, like, he took the art away, which was, like, the selling point. Like, because it's by the Garbage Pail Kids guy. Like, it looks awesome. And so it was just funny, though. Like, so nobody wanted that version. They all wanted the version Riggs has. And I'm like, so talking about that though, and this is off of this podcast, is I might be doing a video later or something. I have 6 boards left of the game, and it's a custom board. Like shit doesn't work in emulators. I got it to work on a Raspberry Pi, but the menus don't work. Not the menu, the intro screen doesn't work. with the Game Boy. So, but like, so it's not gonna work digitally. So it only works in an NES, and it doesn't work in clone NESs. So.
Oh wow, this is
So
for the originals
it's
out there.
original. It's original because it used a weird ass mapper, and he programmed the game across the mapper, so it won't even work on non consoles. But yeah, I have 6 copies, and 1 copy is going to Joe Simcoe, who did the artwork, because I forgot to get him a copy, and I'm like, oh, let me see how many boards I have, and I have 6, so I'm like, shit, so I got 5 copies that I'm gonna be putting online. I don't know where.
You figure it out.
Because people are gonna go crazy, and I want to make sure everybody has an even playing field to get it. And it's gonna be CIB, like not a card only. I have boxes, manuals, everything.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, so I wanted to ask you about this. There is a prototype game out there of Shadowhawk. Have you heard of it?
Shadowhawk, yes. And I heard about that there was a reproduction version of Shadowhawk that came out and used artwork from the comic book, and the comic book creator sued them, and they had to take it down. It's kind of what killed that whole company. Pretty crazy.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
That game is worth about around $1,000 complete.
Yes.
And a friend of mine showed it to me and said, "Hey Reggie, I got this. Do you know what it's worth?" And I'm like, "Dude, yeah, you have this? This is insane."
Hell yeah.
So I told him what the history was about it, and he was surprised because he didn't know anything about it. He said, "I've been sitting on this. I don't know what this is."
You have to get a copy of it.
I know, right? And I think the prototype was pretty much almost finished, right?
Yeah, it was in pretty workable condition. I'm not sure if the guys who released it on the cartridge finished it up or not, because sometimes they do that. Some companies.
Right.
I'm not sure if they finished it up or if it was finishable. I don't know.
Everybody's suing everybody when you don't go through the proper channels, I guess, man. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and that's an IP type deal. And it's like with my books, I just contact everybody and ask if it's cool. If it's not cool, I change out the image. Like
there you go.
Too easy. And,
yeah, too easy.
And if somebody sees something later and they're mad that it's in there later, then I'll remove it from subsequent printings. Like, whatever.
There you go, man. Seriously.
But yeah, with Shadowhawk, that was nuts, dude.
Yeah, man. I was like, dang, I can't believe it. Because I used to briefly read the comic book back in high school, the first Shadowhawk series, and it was pretty cool. But I didn't really get into it. But Image was more kind of new back then.
Yeah.
Image Comics, they were like around 5 years old, so I was still getting used to some of their heroes. But yeah, I was surprised about that, man. Like, wow, like a game came out for it for Super Nintendo and they never finished it.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of Super Nintendo prototypes out there that weren't finished, that were like that never were released, which is pretty crazy.
Well, you've read about it in the definitive SNES, like
yep.
And actually it's in the first version too. So yeah. I know the definitive SNES, you guys don't have it yet, all the contributors, because we had you were tracking the spine issue and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like basically when my warehouse got the book, there's no glue on the spine of any of the covers. So certain people would open it up and it would fall apart type deal. Like it would just fall out of it. Because it's a 630 page book. It's huge. So so basically the printing company's reprinting it. That'll be in my warehouse in a couple weeks. It should be soon now. Shit, it's been like 4 weeks now. And then
cool,
I'm paying out of pocket to get the remainder fixed. So I have a company that's gonna add glue to it.
Okay.
So I mean, the thing is though, that's crazy, is that I shipped out, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of international backers. That cost me like, I think $8,000.
Woo!
Just shipping. Not book cost, just shipping.
Yeah.
And I gotta re-ship them all.
Man, dude, that's like, yeah, you gotta make, $8,000.
No, I have to take out a business loan because, like, I was like, man, if this Hidden Gaming Gems thing goes crazy, cool, and then I'll be able to, like, somewhat dig myself out of this shipping hole, because that's the thing people don't realize, like, with these projects. Like, shit gets crazy when you start multiplying it, and just that shipping itself, I charged half of what it cost for shipping for international, because I had a distributor in Europe. The distributor kind of fell through. So then now I got to pay full price for shipping. So, like, and I didn't have the money for those, and Kickstarter took out money. So it was like, dude, it's a lot of money in the hole.
I bet, man. Jeez.
So like I'm simplifying shit going forward a little bit, just because
Right.
I'll dig myself out of that. It's like 20 grand hole, pretty much. like Jesus Christ.
20 grand. Oh.
Luckily, this ain't my business that I feed my family with. Luckily, it's just a hobby.
I heard that, man.
Like, cause I can take out like a business loan and pay it per month. Cause I people buy my books, which is awesome. I appreciate it, and it's I sell enough to cover a loan payment. But like, dude, I gotta go to some conventions, because every time I go to conventions, I sell out of books, and that'll help me pay that shit off.
I hear you, man. So last time I saw you was actually at the 2016 PRGE convention.
Yep.
And man, that convention was a blast, dude.
Hell yeah,
dude. It was so much stuff going on at that convention. Like, I remember like seeing everybody seeing you. You were over there selling the books and promoting the books and everything. And wait a minute, I just remember we actually did a panel together on there, which was
we did a panel together. Yes, we did.
Oh my god, I just totally forgot that. Like, the memory just came to my mind.
And you stole my prototype of my Super Nintendo book.
I did. You said, Reggie, you want this one? I was like, heck yeah, that's the prototype, man.
Oh, I didn't ask. You just took, Reggie. You just took. You took.
I know.
You violated me.
I got you that cup of coffee, man. The butter you up.
Hey, man. Flattery will get you everywhere. No, it was cool, because the thing is people do want my my actual my advanced copies of books, and I had a guy who contacted me with this new one, and basically how I'm making shit right is I'm giving him copies of like older stuff, like especially with the international shipping that went up. Like the backers actually gave me, most of them gave me the money to make it square. But I had to give them I gave them either they could write my Hidden Gaming Gems book, or I'll give them a copy of the NES Oddities or something like that for free with it, which it's crazy. But like one guy's like, hey dude, could I get a copy of your complete NES? And I'm like, all I got is this weird ass first version from a different printing company that the covers looks a little different on the spine. He's like, dude, I want that.
Nice, dude. All right.
So, I mean, the thing is, though, is I don't have a whole lot of those sitting around anymore.
Right.
But, like, and what I'm sold out of, I'm sold out of. Like, that first and second print run of the complete SNES were gone a long time ago. That's why the definitive's a thing. And when I do the complete NES again, years down the line, it's going to be different. It's going to be bigger, probably, with the new style that I did with the Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like, just bigger art, and it would be cool. And yeah, like that Portland in 2016 was awesome. I heard 2017 wasn't as cool. I don't know why.
2017, well, a couple things happened. It was still cool, just as cool as 2016, but a couple of guests weren't there, like yourself and a couple of other ones. And then like we had this, what was it? It was the auction, which everybody gets excited for.
Yeah.
The auction went on a little bit longer than it needed to, but it was still cool though. But I don't know, man. Maybe people are just getting their collections fulfilled to what they want it to be, and maybe people can make it out this year. I don't know. But
I know is I'm out there this year.
You are?
Hell yeah, I'm coming out this year.
All right, man.
I got a table and everything. Like Rick, who runs the convention, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be in training. I'm moving to a new area, so I gotta make sure I can get leave and vacation. And it's like, can you hold it so that way, I want to come, but I have to make sure I can get off.
Right. Okay.
And so Rick held it on to me, and I paid for my table like months later in February, once I knew I could get freaking leave. And so I'm out there. And the only thing is, I have no logistics plan. I don't have a room. I don't have anything. And everybody there, like, we all get our tables. Because that's just how you do it at PRGE. Like, there's no, like, craziness of, like, guest spots, except for panels.
This year at PRGE, and last year it happened mostly, too. I didn't really, do too much shopping. I was mostly hanging with friends, which was nice. I'm going to make sure I do that from now on, because the other years, obviously you're hunting for games and everything, trying to get the best deals or whatever you can before, it gets too crazy. But now, and I've known this before, it's really about, like, hanging with people like yourself and, that can get down there from far away. Because it's not like we get to, like, hang out, like that much, you know what I mean? Because you live so far away. So that's our one time to actually hang out and chill
Yeah.
and do all that kind of stuff. And that's why one of the reasons why that event is so important to me. I mean, you got people coming around all over the United States, hell, even all over the world,
Yep.
coming to this event that you can finally get to hang with and talk to. So, man, when I hit the floor, I'm going to hang out with people, you know, talk with them.
And unlike 2016, where I was at like 13 or 14 conventions, I'm only at 4 this year. And I did Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. And then I got Classic Game Fest, Game On with Gamester, which is like a couple weeks after that, and then Portland.
Right.
And then Portland. That's it.
Portland, so yeah, that's the last one.
That's all I can afford to do this year. And, you know, this is like one of those things where, you know, as I said, I'm in the hole, so.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
It's all good, though, because it's fun. And the thing is that in the hole isn't necessarily as crazy as it sounds because, you know, it's all crowdfunded, too. So it's due to the awesomeness of backers, I'm able to make it a thing. So
exactly.
I'm going to still do them. Like, might as well.
Yeah, exactly, man.
The time it affects family, that's when I got scaled back.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. You're right. Well said, man.
Exactly.
But this type of event, man, is really like, I don't know, man. It's been amazing to be a part of something like this, and I've met so many great people like yourself. You know, I just met a lot of great fans of the channel. This is really a heartwarming event for me to go to. I've been going to the PRG event since 2011.
Damn.
That was my first one, and I went every year, and it's crazy now. Now I'm actually like a guest on panels now, you know, which is insane.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, whoa, okay. Like,
I don't even know if I have a panel lined up this year or not. I haven't really talked with Rick about it. Probably means no, because he's probably booked. I'm just saying, like, he gets booked. Like,
I know, man. Even though I feel like it was yesterday, like almost, you know, the last PRG, man. Now we have the new one coming up, so it's like time goes by fast. So,
well, and as you know, during the weekdays I got no time, and on the weekends I'm working on books or playing games. So it's like I don't have time to remember who to contact about shit.
Yeah, man. I hear you, man. Like a busy week, man. I can't wait. I'm really trying to get back into playing video games again, like more, because, you know, like when I did a YouTube channel, and that takes up so much time editing out proper video for people to watch and enjoy, and I do 2 a week. You know, it's taxing.
Dude, that's ridiculous that you're doing that much.
I've been doing it for a year now, and you know, and
holy shit,
these videos are like, I put edits in them. I add footage and make it kind of like, you know, because some people, they do their videos, they can just do a video and talk, but I go the extra mile and put footage in there for people to look at.
You put footage, you do it all out, and
And I capture my own stuff, and it's tough, man. I've been doing it for over a year now, since I started the Patreon, and you know, people think it's easy, but it's not. And it's taking time away from me to actually game myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why people say, "Hey, Reggie, you played this game yet?" No, not yet. You know, or something like that. You know, it's like, because I'm editing videos all the time, and I'm trying to.
Your backlog is as crazy as mine.
It is. But what I'm doing this year, well, probably early next year. Well, yeah, probably sometime this year. I'm gonna scale back a little bit. I might start doing 1 video a week, and, you know, and kind of like doing my other things I do, like, you know, because I just need. Oh, go ahead.
I was to say, well, it depends, like, because, you know, obviously if you're doing your 2 a week, that's your fan base and all that, and it depends on what you're doing YouTube for. If you're doing it for yourself, scale it back.
You know, it's weird. That's a weird question, because it's like I was doing it for myself, but now the fans really enjoy it, and I was doing it for them as well. So it's like a mixture of both.
Yep.
But of course, you know, I got to think about myself.
And
you know,
your sanity.
You know, yeah, exactly. Because, you know, I like the videos I do. I do the videos I like to do. I don't do what was trendy or anything like that. I like my videos to have a lasting effect. Like, that's why I don't talk about trendy topics like new stuff or what's coming out and stuff like that, because no one cares about that after you know,
the first 3 videos you see on it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not, who cares, you know? So I do videos that are more relevant to my channel, or at least to me.
Yeah.
That'll have a lasting effect over the years, like Game Boy hidden gems. That'll have a lasting effect, because people might like want my opinion on what are some hidden gems in that system. So, yeah, I do stuff like that, man. And dude, something horrible happened to me the other day, man.
Oh.
I was on YouTube, and I was actually deleting some videos that I didn't edit properly,
Uh-huh.
and I accidentally deleted my Super Nintendo video, my 12 favorite Super Nintendo games
Oh
video.
no.
So I gotta do that again, man. I'm like, dude.
Oh, you didn't keep a backup?
I didn't, man. I looked for it.
Oh.
It was one of the only ones I didn't do a backup of, and I was like, dude,
Murphy's Law right there. Oh my
it is,
god.
dude.
Oh my
And
god.
so, luckily, I still had the footage I captured for him, but I just got to really just talk about him in the video again. So I had the footage still captured, but oh man, it's just,
Damn.
yeah, I know, man.
Dude, that's
I know.
killer when like stuff you've worked on gets like poo-pooed, and I mean it's one of those crazy things because like speaking of like hidden gaming gems, like my I didn't keep my original Hidden Treasures book because that was the one that was published in 2012.
Right.
So like I didn't keep the original, and when I sent it to the publisher and they went out of business with the original book, like I didn't have a backup copy, so they sent me like a locked PDF, so I had to like hack my own file to be able to get those original reviews.
Whew.
And that's why the second printing of Hidden Treasure, which is print on demand, it's still available, print on demand. It looks so crazy.
Right. Right.
And it's because I didn't keep a freaking backup, man. Like, jeez. Like,
Listen to us, folks. Keep your backups.
Keep
our back stuff up.
your backup. Keep for historical purposes. Keep everything. And it's like talking with all these like artists and stuff. Like, I kept the original, so I have the pencil drawings of the complete NES and the Black Box Challenge, like the artwork, the pencil drawings from Joe Simcoe. Like, I have them framed on my wall.
Whoa, dude.
and then with the complete NES, Joe Simcoe did a painting version of it, a hand painted version that I have on my wall. Because like most artists, they'll do their initial sketches and then they digitize it and they digitally color it. He did that with the Black Box Challenge. He digitally colored everything, but with complete NES, he actually hand painted it all. So that's Garbage Pail Kid style. And so I have that framed too. Like I hold on to that kind of stuff now because that shit's. And now looking at it, it's like that's a fucking amazing piece. Like it looks awesome, and it's framed.
Speaking of Garbage Pail Kids,
yeah.
You know that movie is one of the movies that has like a rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
On websites. Have you watched the movie before?
I haven't watched it since I was a kid, and it was like nightmare
neither.
fuel back in the day. So.
Yeah, I was gonna attempt to, man, but I looked at how they looked, man. They look so jacked up. Like, oh, there's no way I can do this, man.
I don't know.
There's no way.
That almost needs to be like a convention viewing where we all watch it while we're drinking.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly, man.
Throw it on and we all go, oh, God. While we're not paying attention, half.
So, check this out, man. Video game movies. Do you have a favorite out there?
A favorite out there? Now, are we talking video game licensed based off of video game, or are we talking about documentaries?
Licensed video game movies.
Oh.
Like Super Mario Brothers or something like that.
I'm a fan of the original Mortal Kombat because there's a lot of parallels to Enter the Dragon from Bruce Lee.
Yes.
I love that one. Just because like it literally like all the characters follow the same kind of tropes as Enter the Dragon. It's really cool.
My favorite is actually Super Mario Brothers, man. I love that movie. I saw it in theaters.
It's a classic.
It was only 3 of us in there when we watched it. But 5 of us actually.
3.
But I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was a cool ass movie, and people bashed that movie. I'm like, whatever, man.
I got it on Laserdisc.
You do? Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. The only video game movie that I have not been able to watch, and I just can't watch it today, even today, is the Double Dragon movie. I can't watch it.
It's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible.
I figured it was, man. When I saw like they had I don't know, man. It was just they got the dude from Party of 5 in it as Billy Lee.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, this dude doesn't even know how to. How could this guy be Billy Lee? He doesn't even know how to fight. And the other guy played Timmy Lee.
The thing is that I think that'll be a film where it's going to be so bad it's good. Like over the years, it might be there now. I haven't watched it in so long, but like that's where Super Mario Brothers moved to. It's so bad and so out of there now that I'm enjoying it, and that's a lot of '90s films. It's getting to that point. Like Street Fighter, same thing.
Street Fighter was a comedy. If you look at it like a comedy, man, it was a great movie.
Yep.
And that's how I went into it, man. Like Raul Julia as M. Bison, and he was saying some of the the funniest lines in that
One-liners
movie.
all day.
Yeah, dude. You know, for me it was Tuesday and all that stuff. It was great. It was a great time, man.
And that's the thing is that watching them in not a serious context gives you more of an enjoyment.
Oh, exactly, dude. People have to go in there and not being so serious. Now with the Mortal Kombat movie, though I liked it a lot, I just wished it was rated R so we could get that more brutality in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a good job with the movie. Of course, our favorite fight is Liu Kang versus Reptile.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
that fight was awesome, and the music they played during that, man, was just insane. But they really with the Double Dragon, I mean not Double Dragon, but Mortal Kombat Armageddon. The problem with that movie is they tried to add too much to one movie, and it ended up being like, have you watched it?
Which one?
Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Oh my god.
They tried to add too much to it.
Well, they went the same route that the actual series at the time went with like Mortal Kombat Trilogy and all that stuff, where there's just a million characters and you don't have that original group anymore, and now there's just thousands of freaking ninjas and tons of stuff. And I was gonna mention Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Annihilation, or whatever. It's just horrid.
It is, man, and they did a lot of crazy stuff in there. Like I'll never forget the one. You probably don't remember this, but Raiden in the movie
cut his hair.
He cut his hair. He got played by a totally different character, which was weird. Yep. But one of the guys said, "Hey, Raiden."
The dad from Dexter.
Yes. I forgot his name. James.
I don't know his James something, but yeah, like, and then because before it was Highlander was Raiden, which was awesome.
Yeah. So what happened was in the movie they say, "Raiden, will you help us?" And he looked at him and said, "I will pray for you." You're like, "What? What is this, dude? Like, you serious?" Like, that was horrible. I'm like, man. And then the animalities at the end when they turned to the dragon and it was horrible, man.
It was so terrible, and that one is not the same level.
It killed the franchise, and now years later, they're talking about remastering it, making a new series. So we'll see how it goes. But man,
well, there's that Blu-ray release that came out off the YouTube series or whatever, where there's like 8 shorts. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was actually really good. You're right. I like
good.
My favorite section in that was the sector simulator where they were testing out the sector robots. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they did a good job on that. But hopefully the next movie they do will follow the same way that went, because I can't imagine seeing something like Mortal Kombat Armageddon again. I don't even understand how they even made that. Like, hey guys, there's something wrong with this film. You know what I mean? Like, we should probably do something different.
Yeah, probably. Jesus Christ, like, no, leave that alone. And the crazy thing is talking Mortal Kombat is like Midwest Gaming Classic and Gamesters Game On Expo. The Mortal Kombat dudes that did the motion capture at those.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually excited, man. I finally get to meet the real Johnny Cage. That's what I call him.
Because you're going to Game On this year?
I'm going to Game On and the Mo Game Con.
Well, shit, then you're gonna see me there at Game On.
Heck yeah, man.
So
Game On.
The thing is that I posted something about Pacina, because me and him have a little bit of a history, and he said, "Prepare your liver." That's because last year at Midwest Gaming Classic, he drank me under the table, and then at Game On, I drank him under the table. He was passed out in the corner.
Oh wow, dude!
Like, it was awesome. He loves to go out and party though. The thing is though, Jax, he is a legitimate badass. Like,
oh yeah,
the guy who played Jax was Army Special Forces during fucking Desert Storm. He has stories. Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow, dude.
He found out my military history, and he started telling stories. I'm like, yeah, you're legit. Like, goddamn, Jax. Like,
dude, man. So he's coming. Is the Jax character coming too?
He was there last year. I don't know if he's going this year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I lived near Chicago, because they're all out there, and they started a martial arts and gym. It's called Gamma or whatever, but yeah, with Doc Mack, who runs Galloping Ghost, which is like the biggest arcade in the world. Like, they started a gym where Pacina teaches martial arts, and he's a 30-year martial arts. He's legit. And then John Parrish, who plays Jax, he runs the actual gym, and he does like fitness and stuff.
So, has Daniel ever told you the whole fiasco with Midway and why they didn't use him as Johnny Cage in the third game?
I never asked him.
I would love to ask him that, and
He
when I
he
see him.
he might have told it at a panel, but I mean, we'll ask him over like a beer or something.
Well, this is a weird thing because Johnny Cage and Raiden are my favorite characters in the original Mortal Kombat game, even today.
Yeah.
And when I played Mortal Kombat 3 and Trilogy, they put Johnny Cage in there, but it was this other guy. It didn't look like. I was like, who is this dude? This is not Johnny Cage. What happened?
And I mean, he was also Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So
yeah, he's Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, all that stuff, and I think he was Raiden too, actually.
I don't think he was Raiden. Maybe.
He wasn't Raiden, okay.
Because I mean, his brother was in it too as Liu Kang or Kung Lao. I mean,
Kung Lao, okay.
Yeah, Carlos Bacina. Yeah, and then so it was crazy at that bar though. We had Jax and Johnny Cage, and then Shang Tsung, the guy who played him in Part 2, and Shao Kahn hanging out drinking, and like the funny thing is the guy who plays Shang Tsung is like, nobody recognizes me. I'm like, well, it's because you have a crazy mustache and a hat in the actual in the game. So like, it's like freaking nobody would know Pacina's Scorpion unless he wears the Scorpion freaking gi.
Exactly, dude. So yeah,
that's the thing that's cool about those conventions too. Is you get to meet tons of awesome people like that you may never ever get to see, and like history behind it. And then if you're like us and we talk to everybody, like we get some stories.
Exactly, man. Dude, that's tight, man. I can't wait to meet those guys now, man.
It's gonna be fun.
It is, man.
I mean, I was shooting the shit with freaking Eugene Jarvis at Midwest Gaming Classic. Eugene Jarvis created Robotron, Smash TV. Like,
oh yeah,
like basically, I just asked him, like, man, there's no Smash TV here. It's like, well, we can go to my house. I live down the road. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Eugene Jarvis's house and play fucking Super Smash TV on the arcade. Like, what the fuck?
Oh man,
it's like he did the video game bullshit intro because I was like, dude, could you do an intro? Like,
dude, man,
it's just gotten crazy. It's out of control. It's amazing.
So I wanted to tell you that a lot of people have always asked me, like, Reggie, why? Well, they assume this is not true. Reggie, why aren't you all in Nintendo and all that stuff? Why don't you like pump for Nintendo? Why are you only PlayStation? Which is not true. I like Nintendo as well.
Oh, I know this.
But I always felt like people who go after Nintendo nowadays are like pretty indoctrinated by them. Like they'll get anything Nintendo because
oh yeah, I'm brainwashed too.
You brainwashed too,
hell
man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I told people because when the NES Classic came out last year, and you remember how Nintendo did that thing where they said they weren't making that many of them, or they just didn't sell that many of them. Yeah. And I always felt that they did that to get the demand up for it. And a lot of people were waiting outside. Some people were sleeping outside waiting to get the Classic, from Best Buy. And I was like, wow, dude, like, this is pretty sad. You could play all these games easily on an emulator instead of like waiting on the system, which the system is cool, I gotta admit.
It is an emulator.
It is an emulator. But how the hell can people sleep outside for it, man? I just didn't get it. And I felt like Nintendo did people wrong by not having those things in stock and having them sell out like they did, especially before the holiday season. I thought that was pretty messed up.
Oh, they did.
And
a little bit.
Yeah, they did. And people still fell for it, man. I just always felt like people were just way too, I mean, indoctrination period is bad, but I just felt like Nintendo, people were just indoctrinated by them. Anything they say, people would jump up on, even if it's crap, and I'm just not like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
the one thing that they couldn't pull the wool over mine, Labo.
Oh gosh.
Oh hell no! I did not. And the thing is, I have a 6-year-old daughter. She would probably love it. But do I want a bunch of fucking cardboard sitting around my house after we play it for like 15 minutes?
Nope.
Like literally, that's the same thing as the Wii plastic garbage that was with that system. Like all the different hookups for the Wiimotes and all that shit. Like that just took up space. Like and this is cardboard. Like no, I'm okay. Like eventually, if it comes down in price, I might pick it up just to play it with my daughter. Like
there you go.
That's it though. And that was the only reason why I would get it. But it's like, oh, they didn't pull the wool over my. I didn't have to get that.
Man, I don't know, brother.
But they knew doing a new Legend of Zelda, I'm gonna buy it. Like I'm indoctrinated into that.
Well, here's the thing too, man. So a lot of people, this was shocking to me, and I know if I told you this story, but I did a live video a few months ago before I got suspended, which I'll tell you about after that.
Oh god.
Yeah, I know, right? I was doing a random video where I talked to the fans, because they love when I do live videos, and I talk with them for like a long periods of time. I answer questions.
Yeah.
And people ask me this question: "Hey Reggie, have you got a Switch yet? When are you going to buy a Nintendo Switch?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll possibly get one, guys. I'll probably maybe around 2020, 2021." And when I said this, man, because I was serious, I said, "There's no," and they went out of their minds. They said, "Reggie, no, man. We gotta start Reggie a Switch fund." And I was like, "Whatever, guys." And I start answering more questions.
I'm not gonna lie, the Switch is badass.
I know, right? And then after about a couple minutes, next thing you know, a donation pops up in my PayPal, and for like $50 for the Switch fund. I said, "What the hell?"
Oh
so
my
then
God.
I announced it. I said, "Hey guys, somebody just put $50 in my PayPal account." And they said, "Yeah, Reggie, that was me. It's for your Switch fund." Next thing you know, somebody drops $100 in there, and it kept going. And then next thing you know, I had money to buy a Switch, and I bought one that night. I made a video for them, and yeah. I mean, the fans are, man. I mean, they love that Switch so much, man.
Well, my thing about the Switch that I love is the retro like revolution that we're going on the digital side and on Steam.
Right.
And it takes those millions of Steam games, and then we get a trickle. So it's like palatable for me to be able to play some newer games. Like they already been out on Steam. I got it, but they're lost on the Steam store. Like, I won't ever find those. Like that Blossom Tales game is basically Zelda Link to the Past, and I wouldn't have known about it if it didn't pop over to the Switch.
What was it called again?
Blossom Tales.
I've seen that.
It's Zelda, man. It is Zelda.
Is it getting a physical release?
I don't think so. I mean, it might. And the thing is, I say I don't think so, but then there's other games that are getting a physical release that I didn't think would. So it should. It deserves one. It's awesome. Like, I would definitely buy. I would double dip. I think I got it for like I got it for like $5 though. I think.
Dude, I double dipped in like the Ease game, Ease 8.
Hell yeah!
I got it on the Vita and the PS4.
I haven't gotten the Switch version yet, but I'm on a budget because of the hole that Hagen's Alley's in right now.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's a mainstream game now. It's gotten there finally. So you'll see copies at a store or whatever. I don't. You have a PS4?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I would tell you to get the PS4 version, but I'm sure you like that portability of the Switch. So
well, I haven't done the 8.5 generation yet, which would be your PS4 Pro and your Xbox One X. But I have the 8th generation, which is Wii U.
I don't have those. I don't have the Pro or the Xbox One. I said there's no way I'm gonna buy into that. They wanted to make those systems. They should have did it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And you can't kind of like buy into that, guys, because then the next thing you know, they'll do it when the PS5 and the next Xbox comes out.
Well, and that's the thing. They're already a year later talking now about PS5. Like the next generations, and it's
exactly.
Like, I don't know if the companies are, or if it's just gamers being wishful, but I thought that the Pro and the Xbox One X were to get another 5 years out of the system hardware, which would make sense to me.
Right.
But I'm not. I don't care enough. As long as I can play the games, like I'm a casual on Xbox One right now. My wife is on PS4. She's pretty hardcore into Grand Theft Auto 5 still online.
Oh, nice, dude.
She's a mob boss. She's level 400 something. Like, I'm level 3. She's level 400.
I'm gonna send you a video that hasn't come out yet. It's about my buddy Joe's his experience with Grand Theft Auto 5. He tried to buy a shark card, but he ran into the wrong people. He tells a story about how he got ripped off, and it's pretty funny.
Dude, Joe's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. But his reaction was even crazier, man. Like, it's hilarious. I'm gonna send you that video, man, because it's not out yet. But I'll send it to you so you can check it out when you have time.
Are you talking about Joe Witter?
Joe Witter, Crazy Joe,
who might be part of a gaming documentary that we're both a part of that we haven't mentioned and might get shit from Darren if we don't mention it.
Yeah, Joe, the star of the Bits of Yesterday, man.
Bits of Yesterday, and that's what I put in my review of it. It is around his story. The whole The whole film is around his story. Yet, and I will be candid, I don't know why Joe was not on the banner at Midwest Gaming Classic that my mug was on. My mug's on
Yeah.
there. I'm an author. I have like 15 to 30 seconds of screen time, and the story's around him.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too, man. They did such a good job around the documentary around Joe, man, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Joe about it, how much I loved it and everything. And Joe was like, yeah.
Radical's in there. Radical Reggie's in there.
Yeah, I showed him a couple of times, man. You know,
You're in there longer than I am. Shit. I just pontificate every once in a while.
I know, right? Joe's part was just so cool and amazing. I mean, when I saw it before it actually came out, and I saw Joe's part, I said, "Dude, this is gonna work, man." Because Joe is just, I don't know, he's just a natural on camera, man. It's what he says flows. And
yeah.
I mean, I wish he had time to do a YouTube channel, man, because he has one, but he doesn't have time to do it. But Joe is one of the funniest people I've ever met, dude, and he keeps it real. And I'm just happy he was in that documentary because here's a funny story. Darren was actually coming out here to document John Hancock, Kinsey, and myself. And I said, hey, wait a minute, you're going to do Kinsey. I said, hey, dude, you got to do my buddy Joe, man. Joe is an amazing guy and everything. You should put him in the film too. And Darren was kind of iffy at first, like, Joe, what the hell? And once he met Joe, he understood what I was talking about, man. He said, wow, dude, I'm so happy that I could put Joe in this film.
And so plus, like, he makes it the drinking game where every time Joe lights up a cigarette, you got to take a shot. And like, it's classic. My wife I was watching it, my wife's like, man, he's smoking a lot. I was like, that's Joe.
I know, right? It's hilarious. So, yeah, actually, I let my friend borrow it, and he finally brought it back. I'm probably gonna watch it maybe tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, it was pretty good, man. I was very happy with it. I like how everybody came out. You know, it was good work. So
yeah, I was actually kind of surprised at the packaging too, because like when I backed it on Kickstarter before it was like before I was even interviewed for it, and like it was interesting because I got the stuff and it's like there's a T-shirt in there and stickers and a soundtrack, a physical soundtrack, and I was like, damn, it's like a complete package. Like it really was made for fans, which is cool.
Yep. Exactly.
Obviously, in my review, I mentioned it's a little unfocused at times. Like there's a little bit of like there's a positivity when Joe's on there. And then you have other guys that are like, where it talks about addiction, and it almost sounds like we're all crazy for collecting games. And then, like, there's some weird stuff where it kind of ebbs and flows.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think they just needed to add the part, like, we don't just collect games. We collect games we want to play. And that's what we mean by collecting. At least I think so, right?
Well, with we, you're talking me and you, yes. When you're talking others, like, I got a buddy who has, like, 40 freaking NESs because he picks up on one every time he sees them, and he won't sell them. He won't trade them.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that.
It's a legit thing.
It is. I'm guilty of it in a way. I mean, I do have multiple copies of games, but not multiple systems and stuff like that.
Well, and the thing is that all of us, if we're passionate about something, anything out there, if we see it out there for a good price and we happen to, like, go to a Goodwill or something, we see it, we're going to buy it. But
yeah, definitely.
I'm not, like, out there actively looking for another copy of the same thing or another system. And my thing is I will absolutely get it to buddies who need it or trade it up for something that I don't have yet that I need or want. But I don't hold on to any doubles of anything. I have no doubles. But like, but I think some people, especially on that the dock, are pretty hoarder style. But the whole tone of the movie like shifted a little bit. It was interesting. And then there's another guy who's basically said that, you know, it kept him out of being a criminal or craziness like that too. Some of the other guys that were interviewed, I don't know them. I actually never met Joe either. Like, I don't think I've talked to him before, like outside of maybe online, and I don't even think we chatted online.
Oh, you'll definitely meet him this year, man. So, yeah, but sure. I get what you're saying about the documentary too. I felt like that on some points in it too.
Yeah, but overall, the whole thing is cool. I like it.
It is cool. I just felt like I didn't know what direction they were going. It seemed like they were going in one direction first and then another direction at another times. Mm-hmm. It's not bad or anything, but it kind of threw me off a little bit.
And I do know I mentioned him earlier. A guy who runs Let's Play, Christian Dieter. I know he helped with doing the before after the initial version that I watched, he helped with editing, and that helped tremendously actually. Like the editing on the actual Blu-ray, because I initially last year saw like a version that digitally that he provided to all the people in it, and I watched it and I was like, man, this is cool. But I was like, damn, some of the times like the YouTubers are over there, like Game Chasers or Pat or whoever, saying something, then I come on and I say something completely different, the way that a lot of collectors feel. It's like I'm not a, but like the stuff you would say was right on par with what I was saying. And then when the Blu-ray came out, like all that was gone, like all that miscommunication aspect. Either they moved pieces around and made it flow better, or like it's awesome though. Like the final edit, professional.
Yeah.
Professional
Definitely.
and cool. Oh yeah.
Man. So yeah, Bits of Yesterday. You haven't seen it, guys? Check it out.
Yeah, but we definitely have to when we mention Joe, we gotta mention the bits. Otherwise, Darren will be on us.
Oh gosh.
Give us a look. Give us a look online.
Oh man.
It was funny. He was asking me something. He's like, "Man, nobody's talking about the movie, and like everybody that is in it should be promoting it." And I'm like, "Well, you know how real movies work, right? The publishing company, 20th Century Fox or whoever, will hold a convention, and they will fly the stars out to places to promote it. Like it ain't the opposite way. Like I get it, but and then those stars are paid to be in the movie. I was like, dude, you gotta. It's a ground pound. How do you think my books got out there? Because I talk about them and I go to conventions and I don't. Like, I ask everybody who contributes, like, hey, can you share it somehow, please? Like,
yeah, I did a couple of videos.
Yeah,
and promoted it. Me and I remember
Kickstarter,
hell yeah,
fucking awesome.
Indiegogo. What else? I promoted it when I did the Mo GameCon video, which was one of my successful videos. I talked about it in there. Yeah, and then we did the panel. I promoted that too on there too.
Dude, like
about 4 videos.
You all like everybody's went like above and beyond, did some awesome shit for like my stuff, and I'm like, all I ask is share however you can. If it's a freaking Facebook post to your fans, that's cool. Like whatever you got time for, because you're all busy, and I think me asking that might have rubbed some of the contributors the wrong way. Because if you noticed with the hidden gaming gems and like Sean Long ain't on there, and he like won't even respond to get his free copy of his book. I don't know what happened with him. I don't know if because he posts online. It's not like he's that busy. But like I think something I said to maybe ask, maybe he just feels like, oh, I contributed, I should have it without having to promote it. And I just asked if you could. I didn't say you had to.
Oh well, hey,
yeah.
If you're not getting a response, there's nothing really you can do. You just gotta move on.
Well, and the thing is, he moved, so I don't have his new address, so I can't just like ship it to him. Otherwise, I would. Like I should just ship the damn thing to him. Like, here you go, man. You're a contributor, dude. You put some effort and some time into your writing. It's freaking awesome.
Well, maybe if you see him at a convention, you could hand him one a copy. If you see him at
if he shows up, now here you go. You're a contributor.
There you go. It's that easy.
And yeah, it's funny too, because like some of the contributors have like then written for like Brett Wise's books, and they think I'm gonna be mad. I'm like, dude, I wrote in Brett Wise's book. Like I wrote it there too. Like what the hell?
Nice, dude. What was his book about?
He wrote a bunch of old school gaming books that were like a lot of text, but it covered like Nintendo and 7800 and Master System all in the same book. And then the next one covered Genesis and Neo Geo and TurboGrafx in the same book, but there's like not a lot of pictures. And he said, oh, I'd never do a Super Nintendo book because it's too big. And then I did mine, and now he actually got a publishing deal to do the Super Nintendo book, and he's doing art and shit and like with it, because I caused him to, I raised the bar a little bit, and I'm like, hell yeah, it means we're gonna get a badass Brett Wise book. That's like, I'm a hobbyist, so it's like I think that if other people are doing the same kind of stuff and raising the bar, and I raise the bar, and they're making a better product out of it, that's freaking badass.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Then I'm gonna buy a copy. Shit, you kidding me? Like, unless the person's a complete ass bag and I don't like them, and there is one person that is doing something similar that's an ass bag to a lot of people, and I don't like that. That's the only kind of stuff that I won't support, is if people are like complete assholes to the community and everybody. Other than that, I will support. And the Brett Wise is always cool as shit. So, like, are you mad that Brett Wise doing? Nope. I contributed like 8 reviews to it. He's doing it in 2 volumes. So, Super Nintendo book.
Yeah, he's not messing around, dude.
Only licensed, and in 2 volumes because it's pretty big. And that's what the publisher wanted. So, I mean, he'll be in Barnes & Noble and shit, dude.
Yeah, seriously, that's gonna be awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking.
Whoa, I think I lost you, Reggie. Uh-oh. Reggie, you disappeared for a second there.
Oh, sorry.
After you said dude.
Dude, so I started downsizing on my Super Nintendo collection, man.
Okay.
I'm getting so many games now, like, you know, like a game room, like games are all over the house. And I really started to sit back and look at games that I probably wasn't going to play, that I bought and I wasn't going to play.
Yep.
I mean, I had intentions on playing them when I bought them, but I just never got to it. And I just started downsizing on some games, and Super Nintendo was some of the next stuff to go, because after I got the SNES Classic, I was like, dude, everything is so much fun playing it on here, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know about some of these games, and some games were higher priced games that were going for money, and you know, I just went ahead and sold them, man. So
sold and trade up for other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do.
But people go crazy when you talk about it. So like, how could you sell your Super Nintendo stuff? No, I'll never sell my stuff. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, geez, what's wrong with you, man?
Like, actually, my wife was like a proponent of me not selling stuff, which was crazy. She's like, you're going to regret it, because I sold off like a lot of games that I just wouldn't play. And I'm like, no, I'll be okay. And there was a lot of card-only NES, Super Nintendo. I boxed Genesis and boxed Master System stuff. And it's just games that I wouldn't play. And I knew I wouldn't. They've been sitting in a garage for 3 years, and I move into another house. I'm like, they've been in the garage for the whole time. They're not getting any appreciation. And if I want to play the game, it's much more convenient for me to fire up an EverDrive or an emulator than to go dig in my garage and pull it out. It's not on display.
Yes.
So if it's not display worthy to me, it's like, well, it's expendable.
Yeah. Yeah, I always felt more like that with cartridge-type games, like with my CD-based games. Because CD-based games is where I really started to pick up.
That's your nostalgia. That's your nostalgia.
Like, I grew up with Nintendo and liked it. Super Nintendo as well, enjoyed it. But when I got to high school, man, I was really transitioning out of video games. What got me back into video games was the PlayStation. Now, I was a big fan of the Sega CD, but I never had it because my friends had it. You know, my parents couldn't afford it at the time, or they just didn't want to buy it because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
So I never got to really play it that much. So I kind of stopped playing video games. Then when I had the chance to get the PlayStation, I hopped on it, and that was because I saw my nephew play Resident Evil, which actually put two of my favorite things together that I always wanted in video games: voice acting, real movie actors like the FMV. And video game play, you know, I like that. Resident Evil put that together in one game, like real actors, and I was amazed by that. So
you were immediately made into a Jill sandwich, weren't you?
Oh man, dude. Dude, but this is how Resident Evil. I actually watched my nephew play it, I watched him play it, and I enjoyed it. I said, wow, I got to get a PlayStation, and I ended up buying Resident Evil Director's Cut that came with a Resident Evil 2 demo. Now, I didn't own a PlayStation at the time, but I said I might as well have the games ready so when I do get the PlayStation. And
that's hoarding.
Dude.
No. That's hoarding. No. No, it's smart though.
I got my PlayStation, and I was so happy, dude. Like, I was really video games. I fell in love with video games again at that point.
And you know what that was? It was that anticipation of a new gaming experience, and then it paid off.
And it did.
Hell yeah.
It really paid off.
It's amazing.
And that's where my love for the PlayStation started, man. They were putting out great titles like that, and it was just a really good time, man. PlayStation CD-based games I liked better because they could put more on them. Cartridge for me, you know, they were always expensive, and then they couldn't do what the CDs did. You know what I mean? Where it came to storage. You know what I mean? Like, if you compare some games on an N64 to PlayStation counterparts, you know, you see a lot of stuff.
There's always stuff
missing.
cut. Yep, always stuff cut.
Now, they could add that stuff to the cartridge, but it makes it more expensive. You know what I mean? So cartridges could be up to more $100 or more, which is crazy.
So this is the interesting part and why I like freaking the type of collector you are, is that like in my game room right now where I'm sitting, like I have like a small room that I don't have any of my 5th or 6th generation stuff out because I don't have room. And so like my PS1, I have a lot of PS1 and PS2 games. They're not out. I do have Sega CD and my Sega Saturn collections out. And they're giant little boxes, but I don't have a ton of them, so they're easy to display. But like I had a whole shelf dedicated just to PS1 and PS2, and they're right now in the garage, unfortunately. But it's just like they don't get the space to it right now, and neither does N64 though. And I don't have a lot of N64, but they're not out either. So my thing is that I know right now I am heavily focusing on the other generations. I did get a 64 EverDrive, so I have that hooked up. I've been playing that. But as soon as that PlayStation IO comes out or whatever, I might hook up a PS1.
Seriously.
Yeah, the PSIO hooks up where the old Game Shark hooked up, and you can play on an SD card, play all the PlayStation 1 games on it.
That is on point, man. What is the price range for that?
I think it's going to be about what an EverDrive costs, so 100 to 200, probably maybe a little bit in the middle somewhere. It doesn't look bad.
I wonder if it'll be region free. Like
yeah,
play PAL.
It'll be region free. It's gonna cover everything. They had it on demo and maybe for sale at Midwest Gaming, or not Midwest Gaming Classic. Too Many Games like a couple years ago. They had it out there. I'm not sure if they've mass distributed it yet, but yeah, dude, it was really awesome. I've just been waiting on it because when I do the complete PlayStation, which yes, I am going to do it. And it'll be one fucking book. I don't know how I'm gonna do it in one book, but I don't want 2 volumes. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do it, but when I do that book, I need a way to play all the games. And emulation on the computer might be the route I have to go. But if that PSIO thing is gonna work, I'm gonna do that because I want to play it on original hardware if I can. That's like every book so far, and I only have 2 complete series. But yeah, and the way I do it now is U.S. PAL exclusives, Japanese exclusives, homebrew, everything, unreleased, everything goes into it. Collectible pieces, kiosks, everything, because I want everything that I like, and I like all the history behind everything.
Heck yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
It's the only way to do it, and so the thing is, the PlayStation library is huge. Well, guess what? I'm not just doing U.S. That's what gets crazy.
Speaking of that, so I've always had mostly U.S. games and a couple of Japanese games for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, my friends introduced some games to me that came out in PAL territories, and I think I talked to you about this game before, Chaos Break.
Yep.
For PS1, survival. I love survival horror games, and this was a survival horror action-based type game. Where I didn't know about it. It only came out in PAL territories in Japan. So I ended up buying it, and I loved it. And I was like, wow, dude, how many more PAL games are out there that I don't know about that are like these exclusive type games?
Yeah. Or
even in Japan as well. So I really went out on the binge and started buying a lot of PlayStation, European exclusives or Japan exclusives, of great games, man. It was like almost being introduced to the PlayStation library again, it was refreshed for me again. I felt like I was a kid again, basically.
So you saying that is exactly how I feel with every one of these complete books. Like, it reintroduces me to them. And like the PlayStation for me over the last 5 years it's starting to get better, but it was always like, man, the graphics just aren't there for me. Because it's like a little blocky and whatever. But now, as time is going on, it's starting to be a lot. It's starting to grow on me.
Right.
And it's interesting.
Dude, sorry. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say just now. No, you go ahead. I'll try to remember it.
I'm saying right now I am loading because I've already researched it, the complete PlayStation 1 book. There are 1,389 PS1 US releases.
Jeez.
1,000. Okay, so then PAL exclusives, which include release in Japanese, but I go to PAL first. There are 288 PAL exclusives. And then Japanese, there are another 773 Japanese only games. Now, with my Japanese, we only are going to cover games that are playable by us without having a knowledge of Japanese. They have to be enjoyable. That means that, like, if it's an action RPG and there's some text, but you can still play the game after you get through the wall of text, that will be in the list. But if it's a RPG or a date simulator, shit like that won't be in there because we can't get a good enjoyment out of it. And then and then I have Net Yaruzi games in here somewhere. I haven't started that yet, but that's a thing. I don't know if you heard of the Net Yaruzi.
I have heard of that, man.
So that was that blue PlayStation 1 console, and literally you could program games on it, and those games exist that people made.
Dude, I thought the Net Yaruzi was the black one.
Is it black or is it dark blue? I thought it was always blue whenever I saw pictures.
They actually have one complete in box at my local game store.
Shit.
I've been debating on whether I'm going to get it or not, but
my God.
The thing is though, like
how much they want for it.
I don't want to spend the money on it. It's $500 complete in box. I'm like, man, I'd rather just trade some stuff in there.
Trade some shit in for it. Yep.
And when I'm thinking about trading stuff in there, I look at my Super Nintendo stuff. I was like, dude, I have it on the SNES Classic. I mean, why not just trade that stuff in? Because I like it, but I still have a way to play it. I mean, I'm just like that when it comes to cartridge type games.
Well, and with game stores, if you're doing a trade, they didn't pay $500 for it, so usually they'll give you a better trade value because you're just trading it. You're not getting cash for it, so you can be like, hey, can you trade this closer to actual retail for amount, so that way I come a little more even. So you're kind of doing me a deal on the Net Yaruzi. You're getting a deal on the Super Nintendo games because I know you didn't pay $500 for the Net Yaruzi, and we all win. And that's usually how it works. But yeah, dude.
Get that thing, man.
Like, the thing is though, is I don't know if you can play those games on the Net Yaruzi, or if those games are playable on the PS1, or like that's what I don't know. That's why that list isn't expanded. But we're already at freaking over 2,000 games. So
a Net Yaruzi is actually region free.
Yeah, and it's a region free PS1. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
make sure of that.
And then the other thing is I don't know if there's any homebrew on the PS1. Like besides for Net Yaruzi.
Actually, I mean, there is that game called Thrill Kill that was canceled.
Well, Thrill Kill turned into Wu-Tang.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a proto. That's an unreleased game, though. That was actually released by a real company. It's not homebrew. It was released later, though. The ROM showed up later. So
there is actually a couple of homebrews out there. I saw a website for them. I forgot what the game was called, but basically the only way you could play the game is if you had a modified console, because they don't have that code where they could just make a game on PlayStation, because you have to have a certain way to play it on there, I guess.
Yeah.
Without it. Yeah, so I forgot what it was called, though, but they do have them out there.
So there's probably only a few. And then
not that many.
I wonder if there's any like bootlegs too. That's the other thing. Like, you know, you're talking about your Chinese games that you would see at like the flea markets and shit.
Oh yeah. Wow,
like you know what I mean? Like they'd have like a weird ass, like all of a sudden there's a PS1 game that's like The Mummy that wasn't even released, or you know what I mean? Like something new that's on PS1 for some fucking reason. I love that shit.
Right.
But they did that. They do that on like the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo, like where there's games released by bootleg companies that like Harry Potter on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the hell is there Harry Potter on the NES? Like
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, the shit like that is. I wonder if like I don't know much about that either. But that's the shit that I'm gonna start researching after when I get toward that series. Because the thing is that like so I got Genesis on the horizon, which is gonna take me a couple years, by the way. We're talking years. I wanted to do a TurboGrafx 16 book. I love that system.
Dude, I'm just finally getting introduced to it, man. It's pretty crazy.
Such an amazing system. And you got some of your voice acting on the CD side too, and it's just the ultimate 16-bit type deal. So you got that. I mean, and then like everybody says, oh, you gotta do a complete Nintendo 64, and I'm like, everybody forgets about the Game Boy. Like, I want to do a complete Game Boy book.
Oh man, that's gonna be crazy, dude. Game Boy, dude.
And the
just
thing
like
and
about Game
the
Boy.
thing that blows my mind is then another book is Game Boy Color. That's a whole nother system because there's more released on Game Boy Color than on the Game Boy. Like fuck.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like NES style games. They're amazing.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. I thought the Game Boy had more games than the Game Boy Color.
Okay, so there's this thing I could post over to you, Reggie, but there is, let me see, 33, talking net Yaruzi, 66. There's over 66 games, I think, on the net Yaruzi, or more. There's this disc that you can get, the net Yaruzi collection.
Right.
And it was released, so I don't know if that's what that's
Do
for.
me a favor, send me that
the link.
The PAL exclusives and the Japanese exclusive link to me so I can see what PAL games are out there that I might not have picked up on because
a lot.
I don't know when it comes. I know, right? When it comes, I figure I got a lot of good PAL games that were exclusive to Japan and PAL territories, but I don't know. I feel like there's more out there that I don't know about.
Dude, it's like, and that's the thing is like the at least for my books, like the Game Boy itself, like that's just me wanting to rekindle my own nostalgia growing up playing the fucking Game Boy.
Right.
And wanting to play more experiences because the thing is that it's monochrome, it's black and white, but like the programmers did some amazing sprite work.
Right.
And it looks awesome. So, and then it'll be interesting with the Game Boy Color because the Game Boy Color is its own thing and its own version of games. There's like, and the music sounds like NES on some games. Like there's this Action Man one that Mike Levy mentioned when I posted about Wendy on the Game Boy Color, and I listened to the music and it's like NES style Vice Project Doom, like amazing music.
Oh wow!
Holy shit! And the graphics look a little more late 90s because in early 2000s because that's when that system was out. But it's like Jesus. And it was backward compatible, so a lot of people think that the Game Boy Color is just another Game Boy, and it's not. There's hundreds, like 600-700 games on the freaking Game Boy Color.
Dude, you gotta be looking. I just found another one right now, RoboCop on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, and that's untapped. Nobody's collecting that shit.
Dude, I gotta get into it, man. This is a thrill again, man. That's what I'm talking about,
dude. It's and like that's where it gets crazy. Is I will be writing about it in the upcoming years. But it's like the writing and the playing part is what takes the time. And so it took me for the complete Genesis to do the layouts of, because I'm already done with the layouts of North America, PAL exclusives, and Japanese, and bootlegs, unlicensed, and all that. I'm already done with the layouts of that, and that took me about 6 months.
6 months, okay.
Just the layout, not the writing, not the plan, not the research of the, who did everything in the years and everything. Just the layouts, getting the artwork right. And I found a way to streamline it, so I can do the layout work even faster now. But the writing is what's going to take a while.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the thing though. Is like I just want to jump into every system. It's like, but I gotta stay focused though, and otherwise the books will never come out.
Is it hard to stay focused, man? Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I have 10 books out now, so. And that's just because I was concurrently working on stuff. So while I was working on the complete NES, and while I was working, I was refining Hidden Treasures, and I released Hidden Treasures, and then the complete NES. And while I was working on the complete NES, I was working on the 1990 and 91 Culture Chronicles, which are big, full artwork type books based on a year in gaming, everything for that year. So imagine if I go to 92, 93, and the systems that came out and shit, and then I can start talking about some of this newer stuff.
Right.
Like, as the years go on. Those books are smaller, like 200-300 pages, and they're quicker to write because I'm sitting there telling stories about the stuff. And that's where the compendiums came in, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo compendiums.
Right.
And I realized that would be cool to do for each system. So then I got those, and those I work on concurrently while I was working on NES Oddities and the definitive Super Nintendo. And so, and there's other books that I'm working on that I have ready too. Like that'll be out before the Genesis book.
You're just pretty busy, man.
Yeah, and I only have time on the weekends. So like I really maximize, and on the weekends I like to shoot the shit with you all on doing the podcast thing. Like this is and the thing is I got like people that listen. They're like, you need to do longer episodes. I'm like, okay, we'll bullshit longer.
How long were you doing before?
Well, the one that I did that was shorter was I did a preview of the Hidden Gaming Gems book and everything that's gonna be in it, and it was just me, and I did like 45 minutes or something. They were complaining.
They wanted longer than that.
They want like well, he's like, I listen to it at work, or I listen to it while I'm working on editing videos or doing other stuff, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I get you. I get what they're saying.
While they're working on projects, they throw a podcast on. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like video game bullshit. Like we have over 10 to 20,000 views per episode.
Wow, okay.
We do it for free. We do it on podcast. We upload everything to archive.org, so it's free hosting, and we're not gonna make money on it. And if we want to make money, we do a Kickstarter and we release like a physical version somehow. That's what we did. That's what we did. But like, yeah, we got 20,000 on the last NBA Jam one, and we were like, holy shit, this is like major YouTube views. Like,
damn, dude.
But like, it's only on podcast apps and shit. It's audio only. I throw these on YouTube.
Holy shit, we're at like 2 hours now.
Yeah.
They better be happy.
Oh yeah, we're good, man. That's what I was saying. We're hitting like 2. But it's like the thing is this is Hagen's Alley Books podcast is just me giving me an excuse to bullshit with y'all that we haven't talked in a while. Like we actually talked like about a week or so ago about Hagen Gaming Gems. But like I'm saying, like there's a lot of buddies that I just haven't caught up with, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just start the podcast. I'm not editing shit for going on YouTube. I'm just going to literally upload it with it, and then I'm going to add music for the podcast episode.
Right.
And then I'll even out the audio. So the audio will probably be a little soft going on YouTube because I'm literally not editing it. But that's okay. They can turn it up if they want to, or listen to the podcast version. And
that's totally fine.
While that shit's rendering, I go and hang out with my daughter, and we go run around and see how it is today. If she's out today, that's literally once we get done here, I'm gonna go hang out with my little one. We were building a fort earlier today.
Oh, nice, man. So your wife is playing games like Grand Theft Auto. You're playing like Genesis games right now and everything like that, right?
Yep.
And your daughter, did she play more of the modern stuff, or did she play the retro?
So when she does play, right now she's like when she's not outside playing because we make sure she's outside. But when she's inside, she'll be watching YouTube videos on toy unboxings and on Mario Brothers like fan games and playthroughs and shit on YouTube Kids.
Wow. Okay.
But she was really obsessed with Mario Odyssey. Played the shit out of it on the Switch. It's awesome. And then in her room, she has my Super Nintendo in there because
okay.
Yeah, she has my Super NES with the SD to SNES, so she can play any Super Nintendo game. She usually plays Mario Paint or Fun and Games. She plays those two.
Mario Paint, interesting choice, man.
Well, you saw at the beginning of my Super Nintendo book, she's sitting next to me playing Mario Paint while I worked on that whole book, and it showed from the year that it started to the year how big she got. Showed how she grew. And because she was playing the whole time next to me, so that's where she has a little bit of nostalgia with that game where she likes playing it. And then so she has the Super Nintendo in there, and then also she has my Wii U, and she plays Mario Maker, and she likes playing Smash Brothers and Mario Kart 8. But then she just got a Barbie game recently on the Wii U that she enjoys, dress up thing. She's a girl, so she likes that stuff. You know. She also has the Sega Pico in there too.
Does it feel good? As you got your daughter, like she likes the retro scene, like
she's gonna be a nerd. She's gonna be a nerd. Like she's gonna know. And the thing is, so I said I'm working on another book, 78-page My Little Pony book for my daughter.
Oh, okay. Dang, man, dude, you got so much projects going on.
It's already done.
Oh, it's already done.
Like me and her sat, and this is before I moved. We sat and I let her pick all the imagery that she wanted for the My Little Ponies. She wrote, she talked about the ponies, and I verbatim wrote what she talked about. And then we went through all the ponies that she wanted, and then I have like about 8 pages where it's like her pictures and stuff like that, and I'm gonna probably open it up for pre-orders for those that want every fucking book that I do for some reason, which is crazy. It's gonna be landscape style, probably only paperback, but it's gonna be London's Big Book of Ponies. I have an artist doing the artwork for the front, like an actual legitimate artist worked with Disney.
Dude.
Like, but it's gonna be. I'm gonna sell the book for like probably $20 or less, and just do a tiny print run. I only want to make one for her and for like friends, so
okay,
like friends and family. But like, I'll put it up line for pre-order for those that want everything I do, just to give them an opportunity and say this will be available for this couple weeks, and then I'm gonna do the print run.
Well done, man. Yeah.
But yeah, it's London's Big Book of Ponies. It's already done. Like, I got that one, and then the other book that I'm working on that is going to be, I don't know how crazy it's going to be. It's already formatted, though, now. I'm doing a book for Walter Day.
Walter Day. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, the godfather of gaming. He started Twin Galaxies, the whole gaming, video game records kind of was popularized with him. The Billy Mitchell thing, he's also...
Billy Mitchell.
He's also associated with Walter Day.
I was looking at, speaking of Billy Mitchell real fast. I was
Oh yeah.
I was looking at, some people took some pictures of him with him.
Yep.
And that dude's hair looked like a hoodie, man.
Yep. That's his gimmick. His hair is his gimmick.
I figured he was doing that on purpose, because they're like, I was looking at it, I just started laughing, and I was like, man.
He has a whole He has a whole vision where he wears those white suits with the American tie, and that's his gimmick, man. He's a walking, talking gimmick.
So I don't know too much about this thing about him cheating and everything. Have you looked into that? Like, read what they were saying about that?
So I've met the dude multiple times. He's always cool. However, whatever happened, he definitely played on emulation. I don't think he knew, but he definitely played it. His record, whatever record video he did, it was definitely, because there's like video proof, like based on how the screen is drawn by the game, it's drawn differently on the emulation than it is on the actual arcade. So It's like, it's proof, but I don't think he knew, and I think that it's one of those things where he's just not that knowledgeable on that shit. It plays the same.
Well, why does it really matter if it plays the same? Why are people just giving him heck?
Well, people are giving him heck because he's Billy Mitchell.
Okay.
I
figured.
And also because there's separate world records for MAME and arcade. There's a separate board for it. I don't know if it plays differently, which you would think he would notice that. But I don't know why it was separate, but that was an old Twin Galaxies thing. They had it separated. There's always like little different ways you can play games that were separated. But yeah, so he did it. I think he's pretty like oblivious to the fact that it was that. I mean, and that's why he's going around doing his tour and everything. And I really think that if he wants to, he could probably, like riding a bike, get back on the horse and do it. But it's also one of those things where it's been so many years that, he's getting older. So he might not want to. He might not care.
I think he shouldn't care. I mean, what he did was an accomplishment. Shit. Who else could do that? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Is the other thing with the Mr. Activision Todd Rogers story too. It wasn't the same. Like 2 weeks before Billy Mitchell, they said that he was cheating too. And I think in his situation, he was kind of set up more so because the proof that they used for him, they didn't use the same Atari console, the same version. And so Todd Rogers used the original Atari, and they did the testing on like a newer version, or like the Atari Junior or whatever.
Right.
And so if you would have done the original one, I think that there's a little bit of older tech in that which could be manipulated via the time. There's some crazy ass, tech shit that basically, like, I think that if they tested it on that original one, they might be able to replicate his world records, and I think that they were legit. It's just like a glitch almost, though. It's not like a skilled world record. It's like a skilled world record plus manipulating the glitch within the console itself to do something that wasn't intended. Like,
right.
So I think he's legit. That's just me.
Do you think people just want to just find a reason just to take somebody down? Like they want to get triggered over something? Like, Oh, you're a cheater. Because they
Absolutely.
couldn't do it.
Absolutely, I think so. And it's craziness. I mean, people are people, though. I mean,
Yeah,
there's certain people have
jealousy.
agendas, certain people don't. Certain people were, scorned or hurt by the communities because, communities can get toxic out there sometimes.
Very toxic.
Yeah, but the non-toxic aspect is that Walter Day, back to the book, is like the nicest dude I've ever met. Genuine guy, like literally give you the shit off his back. And he gave me a literary award on my Hidden Treasures book back in 2014, 2015.
Really?
And that, got me invited to some places, got me on the map per se, and is the reason why the Complete NES, like, I met Joe Simcoe at a Walter Day event, and he did the art for the Complete NES that helped the book get noticed when it went to Kickstarter. You know what I mean? Like, shit doesn't happen automatically. Like things, like everything happens for a reason, and like that got a lot of attention, and so like I feel like Walter helped a lot with that, and I'm like, dude, I will help you do a book and it's based on his trading cards that he did, that he does, and so he does video game like personality trading cards type thing.
Oh shoot, okay.
Yeah, and I got a trading card with my likeness on it. Like, it's crazy.
Damn, dude.
But yeah, the award that I got, it's a Walter Day award, so it's not like I got like a Nobel Prize or anything, but it's still like, it still was enough recognition to get me out there a little bit.
Right,
and
right.
I was able to get a little bit further. It's the same thing with like the Super Nintendo book, and you all like freaking doing your awesome, videos and stuff on it. Helped me get out there. Like, I will go to the fucking moon for you guys, all my buddies.
Dude,
like, for real.
I'm sorry that video took so long to do.
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out how to really get it. Like, I wanted to do it a service. I wanted to get it out there. I wanted it to be perfect.
Well, to me, that stuff, like, when it comes out, is arbitrary. The fact that you actually took the time is amazing. You know what I mean? And,
right.
And the thing is, it's all ebbs and flows. Like, if everybody did their videos at the same time, then it would, just be one hit, whereas yours came out later, and people are like, oh, shit, I forgot about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it all works out in the end. But that's the thing. So, like, because of that, though, I'm doing the book for Walter. I'm just doing it for him. I'm going to give it to him. Like, he can have the PDF. I can get it on Kindle for him. I can help him with the Kickstarter or whatever. I don't have time to run a Kickstarter, but I could put it on, Kickstarter with him or one of his people that he works with, because there's a few people that help out Walter a lot. Like, whatever he needs, I will help him out with, because like, I recognize that without that, I would probably still be like an unknown in the literary world, because nobody knew about Hidden Treasures. Like, I found out today. I thought that my first book, I didn't have a copy of it, the European release, and actually the publisher got back to me today, and he said, so it actually was only digital. My first published book, I didn't know that. I thought it was out there a little bit in Europe, and he said he was waiting for the funds to build up for the book, and it was selling online like digitally, but he was waiting for the funds to build up to do a print run, and then his company went under. So it never got the distribution that I thought it did. I was like, oh damn. So like, they really were like scraping, barely getting by, like, as a publishing company. They were doing it big though out in Europe, but like Pixel Nation, like Mike Levy also wrote for them. Like, that's how. It's crazy though. But yeah, so the thing is though, is that like, based on circumstance, like, shit doesn't just happen automatically. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you don't take the time to thank everybody, like, even if it takes me years to work on this book, because I've been working on this book since 2016, on and off, in the on the side while I'm working on my other books. Still though, I want to get it to him. And
good stuff, man.
Yeah, and it's not just like he just wanted a book about his trading cards, but I'm doing like, everybody who's ever met him type thing are writing stories about Walter Day. So I got a story from Nolan Bushnell. You know who Nolan Bushnell is?
No, who is that?
The owner of Atari back in the day, the guy who created Chuck E. Cheese. Like
He created Chuck E. Cheese too.
he created Chuck E. Cheese, and he's the one who put Atari, like created Atari with a couple other guys and put it on the map.
So he wasn't a big fan of Showbiz Pizza or whatever that other opposite company of Chuck E. Cheese was. I think it was called Showbiz.
Yeah, that was his thing.
That was his thing too. They were the same thing.
That was his thing.
Wow.
Yeah, put in arcades and pizza together. That was him.
Wow, dude.
That was all him. Like, he is a legend in the he has a Walter Day card. Anybody who has a card in this book, I reached out to, and actually I'm working with this guy Todd Friedman, who's a huge collector of the cards. And I think he's like a DDR, Dance Dance Revolution row record or something. I don't know.
Oh my god,
but he's very passionate about it. And he's actually gathering a lot of these interviews for me. So I'm actually gonna double bill it. Like, I'm gonna put his name on it too. Todd, because and I'm telling him, like, hey dude, if you get all the reviews edited and everything for me, or like put together, then you did all the work on the reviews. I just did the actual book production and the layouts and the creation. Like, it'll be cool. That's another book I'm working on. You know what I mean? Like, there's multiple avenues. And of course I'm writing my own memoirs too of gaming, which is fun. But that's gonna take me years because I'm doing it so slow.
Hey, take your time, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Not going anywhere.
Well, and I mean, the thing is that right now, Hidden Gaming Gems is freaking awesome. Like, I almost think, especially with your passion on that 5th generation, I think I might have to hold off some of mine for a second book, because my cutoff now after the 630 page like craziness and realizing how expensive it is and how like shit can go wrong with like binding and stuff, which doesn't happen with a 500 or less. I'm doing 500 is what I want my cutoff to be for pages.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the thing to put in perspective. So right now, I have about half the reviews in the book already formatted, and I'm at 350 pages. The book looks awesome.
Jeez,
like, it's already formatted. Dude. Like, and like, I had a legendary writer do the first chapter, because in the original Hidden Treasures, I started with the 2nd generation. Well, I met Leonard Herman, who's the gaming scholar. Like, he's the first historian on gaming. He's been writing for 30 years. And his book, Phoenix 4, has a lot of history. And I'm like, hey, would you mind writing the first chapter, first generation? And he did. So he has a good 5 pages on the first generation of gaming, like with the Pong clones and the Odyssey and everything.
Oh, wow, dude.
So that's in the book, and he already submitted, so that's already there. And I have lots of big pictures, though. There's a lot of pictures in there to make it visually pleasing, because that's what I like.
Right.
So, like, most of the games are about 4-page reviews. I got to get you all, being the reviewers, like, the word count on the shorter ones and then the word count on the longer ones. Because in all reality, when I say it's 4 pages, like, I'm looking at Crypts of Chaos right now, there's really 2 pages of full text, and the rest is imagery. Okay. So you're talking two full like word pages is gonna get you there, like, without a word count. Because I'm gonna do like full page, like full width screenshots of the games, and then I'm gonna do like promotional artwork or any other artwork I could find that's fair use. Okay. Like some crazy shit. I've been posting like the games, like just a screenshot or a picture of the games as I go through. So, let's see. So the games that I'm already covering in the Reggie generation. All right, so that's the 5th generation. I covered Guardian Heroes already on the Sega Saturn.
Nice, I love that game.
Yep, that one's the 6-pager. I wrote it. Incredible Crisis.
Incredible Crisis, nice, dude. Okay.
Which is actually, I think it was Mike Levy actually said, I want to do Incredible Crisis. I'm like, I already wrote about it. No, it was Xander. XS. Xander.
Oh, I forgot about Xander.
Yeah, Xander. So he's gonna write about Silhouette Mirage instead. I'm like, yes.
Silhouette Mirage. Wow, that game is weird, man.
So weird. Yeah, Incredible Crisis is fucking weird.
I know, right? Dude,
I wrote about Windjammers.
Windjammers. I never got into that game. I never saw what the big hype was about that game.
So Windjammers is essentially, I call it Pong in the 90s, honestly, because it's really in the spirit of Pong. But it's awesome. I have the physical cartridge for the MVS,
Right.
So I actually have a physical copy of it for the Neo Geo MBS.
Oh shoot.
Okay. It's awesome. They did a re-release of it in HD on the PS4, so people know about it.
I saw that. I just didn't get what I don't know, man. Like I didn't see the game in arcades when arcades were out.
It's the most 90s way you could play freaking this. It is 90s all over.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's cool.
But I never saw it out there.
Yeah. I wrote about Blast Corps for the 64.
I remember Blast Corps.
Fucking love Blast Corps. Probably my favorite game on the 64 that's not Nintendo staple. Einhander on the PlayStation.
Oh man, that game was tough. But yeah, that's
Loved
a good game.
It. Wendy Every Which Way on the Game Boy Color. It's in the same generation. I just finished writing that one. And
I thought you saw that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, what's up?
I thought you saw that game because of my video I made of it recently.
No, I wrote about this a while ago.
Nice, man.
That's the thing that's crazy. Is people are like, "Did you steal that idea from Metal Jesus?" I'm like, I started writing this book in 2008.
Steal ideas, man. What is up with people? People
they were
the most negative stuff.
They were like, "Oh, it's you stealing Metal Jesus with Hidden Gaming Gems," and I'm like, I wanted to call this book Hidden Gaming Gems, and Pixel Nation changed it to Hidden Treasures. They changed the name, and I started writing this book in 2000. Actually, it was 2008 is when I started writing this book. So nice, no, man. And the thing was, Jason would probably write in it, but he's busy as shit. Just he's really busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He just was straight up with. He's straight up with me. He's like, dude, I don't have time. Sorry, man.
Yeah, him and Joe are the only two people I know that have calendars where they write stuff down where they have to do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was like, wow, dude.
Yeah, dude. But so then the other two games that I'm writing about are extremely obscure, really fucking obscure. Right. Judgment Silver Sword on the WonderSwan Color.
WonderSwan, you got me there. That's more of a Kelsey's thing.
So WonderSwan and the WonderSwan Color were created by Gunpei Yokoi, who created the Game Boy. Yep. After the Virtual Boy, he was kind of petered out and let go by Nintendo.
I can't believe that, dude. After all the success he made for that company, they treat him like that, man. That's horrible. They
fucking dropped him, which was terrible. He created the WonderSwan. The Judgment Silver Sword was actually, there was a coding competition for the WonderSwan later on by fans, and the winner of that competition got a physical game made and distributed.
Really?
And that was Judgment Silver Sword. And there's two versions of the game. It was released in 2004. The WonderSwan was out in the late 90s. So the game is shoot 'em up. It looks amazing. You tilt the WonderSwan vertically, like an arcade, like a shoot 'em up. You tilt the actual console vertically to play it. It's awesome. But that's going to be a cool one to write about. And then the other one for the WonderSwan is Mekaimura. Mekaimura is Ghost and Goblins.
Huh.
However, this is on the black and white WonderSwan, because the first WonderSwan was black and white. Right when the Game Boy Color came out, with everything starting to go color, they released it in black and white. But Mekaimura is the fourth Ghost and Goblins game. So you have Ghost and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Then you have the WonderSwan Ghost and Goblins. And then you have Ultimate Ghost and Goblins. This game is completely different. And completely, the boss battles are over the top. It's amazing. And it's only available on the WonderSwan.
Is it expensive?
No. I got a CIB copy of it for $20 or something. So you do a video on it, that shit's going to explode. So you better get your copy.
I know, right? I better get a WonderSwan too. I want the crystal version. That's the best one to have.
Yeah, I don't have the crystal. I got the color Final Fantasy version of it. The crystal version plays a couple of extra games. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna do a WonderSwan book in the future. I'm gonna do everything in the future, but I'm gonna get to all the popular shit first.
Right.
Then
Makes
while
sense.
I'm working on a giant PlayStation-sized book, I'll probably work on a WonderSwan or a Virtual Boy book or something like that. Just because I'm OCD, I want a book on everything. I mean, I'm gonna go backward too. I need a ColecoVision book or an Atari 2600 book. That'll be a thing. I'm not I feel about the Atari like you feel about the NES and Super Nintendo a little bit. They're cool, but it ain't my thing.
I totally get you.
I'm in that boat, and that's how I understand how you feel about the PlayStation and how you feel about the pixel style games. You're like, they're cool, but my collection is the PlayStation era. Like,
Exactly.
I get it, and I enjoy the PlayStation era too. That's the thing. Like, I love everything, and that's bad. That's dangerous. So, yeah.
It's funny, man. The PlayStation, you know how well the Wii did and everything, how well it sold.
Yeah.
But it's still not the best selling console system of all time. Still goes to the PS2, and the and PS1. It's a close second, I believe.
I think the Wii's the third. I think.
Which one's the third?
I think Wii is the third.
Yeah, Wii is the third.
And they literally had to bring in grandmas and moms into that to get up that high.
I know, right? They had to make it appeal to everybody.
Now, I think the Switch might be breaking some records. Like, if it keeps going like it's going now, over the hype that it's had over this first year, if that keeps up, it may outsell everything. I don't think Nintendo's going to be able to maintain that hype. I saw their E3 presentation.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, as much as I want them to succeed, because I like having the Switch as a secondary system to my PS4.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just see a lot of games that are kind of like on other systems being ported over and not ported over well. I want more exclusive stuff. Like, make games specifically for that system.
I think they're gonna have both. Nintendo's exclusives are always slow. Ever since the Super Nintendo, Nintendo's exclusives have always been slow as shit. Like, I remember on the N64, they released games so fucking slow that I bought a PS1.
I know, right?
I started and I got Wipeout, and I got the Resident Evil Director's Cut. I got Resident Evil 2, Soul Edge. I got a bunch of games because I was like, shit, I don't have any new fucking games. I was working, I had a little part-time job, high school, whatever, and I had some cash, and I'm like, fuck it, I got enough money built up now. It's been so many months without a fucking 64 release that I'm gonna buy a PS1. Like, and I did, and I think I got Tobal #1 with my PS1, and that was the first game I had, Tobal #1.
Well, here's my thing with the 64 too, man. It's like, I got one after I got the PlayStation, but the only 3 games I had for it was a Zelda, Wipeout, and I think I had Star Fox. Yeah, Star Fox 64. Mm-hmm. And I played those games, and I had a great time with them, but there was nothing else out there that interesting to me. Now, of course, there's Mario 64, but that was I could just borrow that one from a friend.
Yeah.
But 3 games, man. And on my PlayStation, I almost had 20 games that I really enjoyed playing.
Exactly. So the thing is, too, is that, like, that slow, like you were saying with, like, you only getting a few games for 64, that's Nintendo's thing. That's what they do. It didn't work for the Wii U, but where the Switch, I think, is going to be different, and it already is the indie games getting the physical cartridge releases, and getting a little more focused digitally. That right there, and the fact that it's essentially a portable home console. It's a portable. I consider it the next evolution of the Vita, honestly. Like, it's the next version of the Vita that you can literally connect to a thing and put it on a TV with no lag, easily. You can put the Vita on TV too, but it's easy. It's marketed that way. It's marketed better, and you have your Nintendo franchises. You're gonna have some old ass ports of last gen and 8th generation, and then you're gonna have all these indie titles that are amazing and perfect for those of us who love old school Nintendo, because a lot of those developers take tribute from those games, so it works out, and they think it's cool getting it published on Nintendo. Now, can they keep that momentum? Because last year we had a lot of big Nintendo titles. This year, the Nintendo titles that are releasing this year aren't as big as a Mario and a Zelda. You're gonna have Smash. That's gonna be big, but not for everybody. So I mean, you have Mario Kart, Zelda, and Mario Odyssey last year. That's huge.
It is huge, man. But here's the funny thing is that they had since they came in during the middle of this generation cycle.
Yep.
That the PlayStation, and Microsoft are probably getting ready to release announce their systems coming out, and I'm sure they're coming to come out in 2020.
So by definition, the Switch is part of the 9th generation. By definition, the way that console generations have always went, that's why the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro are like 8.5. I don't know if I would, and PSVR is kind of an 8.5 too, or it could be 9 because it's new tech.
Right.
But I would almost consider PSVR as part of the 9th generation. But the thing is, when they release their new consoles, they'll be part of the Switch's generation, whether they come out 2 years later or 4 years later.
And that's the thing, though. People are, you know how people are. They love looking at the new technology and they go crazy over it. So they're going to like push that stuff over and look at the new generation of video games, which the Xbox and Sony will be putting out. So. And
the Switch will not be able to have the same games.
Nope.
It won't be able to. And then that's what Nintendo did with the Wii. In Nintendo's defense, maybe lack of marketing sense back in the day, the GameCube was one of the most popular ones up there with the Xbox.
Right.
And they fucking failed miserably because they didn't have a way to push that. So that's why with the Wii, they essentially just took the GameCube tech and just put motion controls with it. It's the same exact fucking tech. They didn't, evolve at all. So the next generation was literally the last generation's tech for Nintendo, and then the Wii U was an upgrade, but it's still a generation behind, and that's just how Nintendo is. But they've made so much money with the Wii that they've realized they don't need it, but they're never going to get that mainstream coverage.
Yeah, man, they dropped the ball on that when they let Sony, when they messed up that deal with Sony back in the day.
Yeah, they did.
Sony took off with it, so I
mean, hell, you could say the same about Atari, because Nintendo wanted to publish their system with Atari, and Atari to get the fuck out of here, and they did it. They did it themselves. So I mean, Sony has literally had the same kind of history as Nintendo did when it was created. The thing is, though, I actually like it. I don't want Nintendo to do the biggest tech. Because then it's a different system. Then I got a reason to buy both. We don't have a reason to buy a PlayStation and an Xbox except for a couple fucking exclusives.
One or the other, and then a Switch.
Yeah,
and then you're good to go.
And that's the thing. So Nintendo has that perfectly, where it's like, all right, this is different. They got crazy ass gimmicks. They got crazy shit that we can do. I don't know if I just played the arcade port of Donkey Kong, first ever console port of the arcade Donkey Kong, and you can spin the fucking Switch sideways and play it in arcade way, the vertical.
That's pretty cool.
Full screen.
I like that.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's perfect. And they have a world record mode where you can set high scores and put it on online leaderboards. And the world record holder of the arcade Donkey Kong is the world record holder on the Switch already.
Really?
Yeah, Wes Copeland. Like, he's the world record holder for Donkey Kong on the arcade. And I looked up there, it says W. Copeland on there. I'm like, that motherfucker, he's already.
He beat us to it.
He's
That's hilarious.
He's a cool ass dude, though. I've met him at conventions, too. But that's the thing, though. I think Nintendo is smart for not doing the biggest tech, but I think that they didn't go far enough forward with the Switch.
Yeah, I agree. And
especially storage.
I do. Well, yeah, storage. Well, I like how they did this. Well, here's the thing with the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they did because I'm a big PlayStation Vita fan. I like the Vita, but the problem with the Vita was Sony dropped the ball with the memory the memory cards in that system. The memory cards were so expensive.
And yeah, they're proprietary of their own style, and they're freaking expensive as shit.
And expensive, yeah. They were trying to make everybody bow down so they could only buy those cards because they didn't want anybody using anything else or possibly hack their system. Sony is one of the hardest companies to hack out of everybody, and they're, for good reason. But I think they went overboard with the Vita, man, because the Vita could have been very successful if they didn't use those memory cards. I mean, you think about the people who want to just download games, right?
Yeah.
Those games take up a lot of space. I mean, almost sometimes up to 4 gigs. You get a regular 16 gig memory card, you're almost out of data almost.
Couple games, yeah.
Yeah, a couple games. It just doesn't make any sense.
And then as tech progresses, people are going to release memory cards cheaper, but not the Sony proprietary one because nobody buys it except for Vita owners.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you don't get a cheap freaking 128 gigabyte card in the future.
Man, if it had memory, man, it would have did as well as the PSP did. But
Here's the thing. Do they have you know how they have an SD card adapter for a micro SD? Do they have
yep,
a Switch card adapter? Or
for
not
the
Switch?
Switch,
No,
I mean,
a Vita card adapter for a micro SD?
they do, but you have to mod the system to use it. I believe.
Oh, that's
That's
lame.
the thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah, dude, because I remember the PSP was hacked, and that thing is amazing because it was hacked.
immediately hacked.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like one of my favorite handhelds because it was hacked and I could throw all the shit on it. Nowadays,
Oh
though,
yeah.
like I don't like you can hack the Switch now. And I didn't do it yet because it's like,
Yeah,
well, I
the
don't
Switch
need
has
to. I don't need to play the NES games. I have the Effort Drive. I can play it on my actual NES.
Yeah, the Switch has a way of hacking it where they can't stop it from being hacked because
Nope.
it's actually the chip software, I believe, right?
And
Some of the
for
chips.
like less than $6 shipped on eBay, you could buy a little dongle that somebody 3D printed, and you just put it in the controller thing, and it does like a little voltage overrun, and then you can hack it. It's
And,
part of the hardware.
and Nintendo can't do anything about it.
Not until they make another revision that fixes it, a hardware revision, which means that anybody who has the Switch it's fine.
Man, I'm glad I got the first version. Do you think they're gonna revise the Switch?
Yeah. I've heard that they're going to upgrade a lot of shit in the next version of the Switch, like tech and stuff inside of it.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna buy it unless it's like crazy different. Like it has to be a gimmickry different because I like my
Yeah, it's got.
I like my Switch
Yeah,
as it is.
I actually like mine too. For everybody who's listening, man, I actually enjoy the Switch. It's a cool system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play it that much, but when I go to certain places and I take it with me at conventions, it's pretty cool.
I
like
would
it.
say that I don't play my Switch enough. I want to play it more. It's just time wise. Like yesterday, I was playing Utopia 2. I just want to play some Utopia 2. Like,
Oh,
just
here's
it.
something I want to tell you. You remember that Super Nintendo game, Wild Guns?
Yes.
Okay, so the Switch version of the game, which is the physical,
Uh
they have a mode in it called beginner mode, which is awesome because you can actually play the game with like unlimited credits
huh.
and go
Nice.
through the whole game, which is nice. So you can get a familiar way of playing the game instead of like because the game is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you played it. It's a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I have the original on cartridge, and then I bought the physical version for the Switch. I haven't had time to play it.
okay, you got it already. So you're ahead of the game. I actually have the Super Nintendo version. I got the PS4 version and the Switch version, but the Switch version is the best one to play
Is it?
because because they added the beginner mode into it, makes the game a lot easier.
Oh, so
I mean,
only the Switch has the beginner mode.
yeah, they were supposed to patch the PS4 version, but they never did.
Damn.
So the Switch version has it, already on the card, so you can play beginner mode, credit free, unlimited, and go through the game and just get a good familiar way of playing it because
Mm-hmm.
it plays like it's an arcade game initially, pretty much. It's made like in an arcade way, like you
Yeah.
put quarters in and everything. So
Yeah.
or at least it's made in that image. So it's a hard game. I mean, it's meant to. It's tough. So a lot of people might just want to go through the game and just have fun with it. Beginner mode is the best way to play it because beginner mode is the same as every other mode in the game with difficulty, but it just gives you unlimited lives, which is great. So
Yeah, it's a fun way to play it, and it's actually one of those things why you having something in the arcade versus on the MAME are always arbitrarily feel different. And it's not
Right.
because of tech or anything. It's because you can put in infinite quarters. Whereas if you actually have to physically put in a quarter, like add an arcade, you have to get good.
right.
It's a different feeling, and it's really hard to rekindle that. But the thing is that people like being able to play through the game. So having that there is awesome. I think it's amazing. And then if you want to get better, hopefully there's something cool unlockable if you beat it in normal mode or something, and then it's worth going through.
Mhm.
It's cool. I like it. I like to do infinite credits every once in a while, especially if you're just playing for fun.
Well, Nintendo always had this weird thing with their games where you run out of credits, they will make you start the level over again.
That's
But in
classic.
Genesis games, they will let you start at the same point, like Sunset Riders on the Genesis and the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Sunset Riders, you run out of lives, you can start up right back from the same spot you're at, just like the arcade. But Super
Mhm.
Nintendo version says, nah, you gotta start the whole level over again. I always hated that when I was a kid. Like, yeah. So,
Yeah, there's what is it? The YouTube channel, Console Wars, with my buddy Dan. His shows,
I've seen those guys.
His
before,
show's
man.
so cool. I met him at conventions too now. But like they do some really cool comparisons. Like I don't know if they did I think they did Sunset Riders, but like they literally talk about that. And every time it seems like Genesis always was a little more lenient. Like when you compare it side by side with games on both consoles, or Genesis had extra stuff like extra characters. Like WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, had 2 extra wrestlers. Shaq Fu had an extra playable character, even. Like,
yeah, they always did it like something a little extra on the Genesis version. It seemed like
speaking of Shaq Fu, I heard that it was the new one was short, but it's not bad. It's actually fun.
Oh yeah, it's short. It's short and sweet. It's a funny game. It's like a re-imaging of the old Shaq Fu thing.
And a beat 'em up.
Like, yeah, it's a beat 'em up.
Instead of a fighting game.
Shaq's voice in it. Shaq has always been a terrible voice actor to me, so it's like, ugh. But
and I heard that there was DLC that was released this week called Barack Fu. He plays Barack Obama. Events
really,
politicians.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, it's free DLC. It's timed release. Is Barack Fu? He plays Barack Obama and beat the hell out of politicians and stuff.
Time release. I better go download it now in case I get the game.
Yeah.
That game, Shaq Fu and Bubsy were meant to be like short but sweet games, I think.
Yeah, I didn't play the new Bubsy. I heard it was all right.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's better than any of the other ones.
I actually didn't mind the Bubsies back in the day. I played them on the Super Nintendo when I would rent them. And, like, they're hard. They're one-hit death, annoyingly hard. But I enjoyed them, and I would get pretty far in them.
But Bubsy, to me, back in the day, I thought he was supposed to be the answer to Sonic, like, because he ran real fast and everything.
Yeah, that dude.
I thought he was going to be like the answer to Sonic, but he wasn't at all, dude.
Well,
he was just...
The reason why it didn't work is because of the one-hit deaths, whereas Sonic, if you got hit, you just lose your rings, and you can get another ring, you can get hit again.
Right.
So you could always run fast. You couldn't run fast in Bubsy because you get hit, you lose.
Right. That was the thing. There was always that if you ran fast, you were going to run into something and get killed. So
there's actually a game digitally on the Wii U that reminded me a lot of Sonic. It was a digital release. Yeah, the characters were purple. I think it was Freedom Planet, maybe, or no, not Freedom Planet.
Oh yeah,
maybe it was.
So yeah, Freedom Planet was actually going to be a Sonic fan game.
Yeah.
What they did was they said, "Man, we're not going to make no money on it, dude. They might as well make money because they were doing extensive a Sonic fan game." So I changed it to Freedom Planet, and I bought it. I have it on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And this game is awesome, dude. I mean, I had so much fun playing through that game, man. It has so many extras.
That might be a hidden gaming gem.
I did a review on it. So
yeah.
One of my first reviews I did, I had to do it on that game. I was very happy with it. And, dude, I mean, I just want that game to get a physical release so bad. It actually has a physical release on PC.
Does it?
Through those indie boxes.
Oh.
But I want like a console release.
Yeah. And that was one thing that Rewind Mike asked me. I'm like, hey, if you all want to use some of your old scripts and fit them into the 4 categories for the Hidden Gaming Gems book, you absolutely can from old reviews you've done. Like, cause if you already like wrote a script or already talked about the game, like you don't have to remake the wheel. Like, the categories are synopsis, graphics, sound, and there's something else in there, sound and music maybe.
So you want all 4 of those categories in those reviews?
Oh no,
right?
no, it's synopsis, gameplay, graphics and sound, and then why you should play it. That's it.
Okay.
And literally, like any review, you can fit that into those are the main 4 things of a review. And then if somebody wants to get into the history, they can write that in the synopsis. Or if you want to talk about music and sound effects, that's in the sound and graphics part. Like it's easy to structure it that way, and it makes for a really quick read with music around it too. Or
right.
not music around it, screenshots around it. Music in a book. That's what we do.
Dude, man, that's awesome, man.
That's what I'm saying, though. That might keep things simplistic for you, too, if there's a bunch of games you've already reviewed.
Dude, I don't write any of my reviews, man. I just do them, like, off the cuff. Like, just how we're talking now. I just talk about them like that, which is, I don't write anything.
Oh.
Which is hilarious.
Oh, you know what I got to say? Good luck. You'll need it. Now, that's a Smash TV quote.
Oh, it's Smash. But, you know, it's like, I talk off the cuff, which is totally fine and everything, but I'm actually going to, like, for my future reviews, I'm gonna probably start doing more extensive ones. So I'm gonna start writing stuff down
Yeah.
and reading it like that because I just when I started doing reviews for my channel, I just wanted to kind of dip my feet in there. So I said, I'll just do it randomly off the cuff and see how it goes. And people actually liked them, which was great and everything. So now I feel comfortable doing them like that, like short reviews. So now the longer reviews, I'm going to start writing more stuff writing stuff down and going like that and see how they go. Because I want to do longer reviews, like maybe up to 10 minutes long at least.
So what I would do if I were you is bulletized, like kind of how you would do a PowerPoint brief. So basically, just write down like basically the bullets that you want to hit, but then you just go into depth on it, like in your own words, just your own review style that you already do.
Right.
That's how I like to do any kind of briefing or talk or panel. Is literally you hit up the topics you want to do, and then you just go crazy, man. Go fucking crazy.
Well said, brother.
Hell yeah. So I think we probably should cut the episode because we are getting long. It's awesome.
Dude, we're almost at 3 hours, man.
Fucking love it. Fucking love it. Gotta keep it going. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Like, cause the thing is that I put them on YouTube. I don't expect anything out of the YouTube for it, just for fun. Like,
how many followers do you have on YouTube?
Over the past, I think 9 years, my channel's been around. Maybe 240, 250.
Okay. You got 250 people on there?
After 9 years, so some of those people probably don't even log in. Because I did unboxings like 10 years ago and stuff for a while.
You're a pioneer.
Yeah, like a while ago. I did single credit reviews for a little bit, like 2-3 years ago. While I was working on Super Nintendo book, I was doing those. But I only do a few, and I just run out of time every time because that shit takes way too much time. You guys are crazy.
No, I heard that, man.
Especially doing it right, like making it look good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are cool, man.
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me on, man. It's been great talking with you.
Thanks for coming on just to shoot the shit, and we talk awesome about games. And obviously, we're going to do it again in the future. For sure.
Anytime.
For sure. And then, of course, on the website, on hagensalley.com, where I'm going to post everything. And then in the show notes and everything, it'll have a link to your channel and all that fun jazz, of course.
Okay,
Of course. Yeah, man. And then we will, so basically I'm going to have this up on YouTube here shortly, as soon as it gets up. And then I'm going to start working on the audio portion, which takes forever because especially a fucking 3-hour episode. God damn, it's gonna take a while to render out the
You should do one. You should do a one called Drill Sergeant Stories, man. That would be so freaking awesome.
Oh my god,
that would be hilarious, crazy. Man. Drill Sergeant Stories.
All right, man.
It would be awesome, man.
All right, man, Reggie. This is for the episode, not for our chatting right now, because we're not gonna hang up. But but thanks for coming on, Reggie.